Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Time to kick off 4 hours of radio information, news, and stuff you need to know about. That's right. We're all about the stuff you need to know about. And we hope that you will settle in. If you're out running around or you're getting ready to drive home or go pick up the kids, whatever it is, we're going to give you news and information while you're in your car. And if you're not in your car, there are about a half a dozen ways you could listen to this program beyond the radio. I mean, you could go to our Super Talk TV thing, and you would say, my, Brian is wearing a sporty shirt today.
It's a very handsome shirt, yeah.
It's a very handsome shirt. And you not only would you get to hear us, but you get to see how amazingly good-looking this crew really is.
I thought we were going to tell people the accurate stuff.
Well, speak for yourself. We know, and you got the app, and there's other ways, half a dozen ways. But I still think that the best way to listen to this radio program is old-fashioned terrestrial radio. I mean, like the kind you have in your car, and you need one at your home too. So one way or the other. We hope you're listening. We hope you're watching. And thanks for being a part of what we do. Start off here with a concerning story. We told you about the fact that there was a helicopter crash that killed the president and the foreign minister of Iran, and that of course is it was baffling to hear the administration go out and put out an official statement mourning the passing of these leaders who. You would have to say are basically not great actors on the world stage. And it was a little hard to understand why you would do that. Why would you put out, some kind of statement? Why not say at least nothing? But they did. And now maybe there's a reason why. According to a couple of different reports, one is from an organization called the Mideast Eye. They look at stories with regard to the Mideast, and the other one is Axios. The U.S. was apparently in some kind of secret negotiation with Iran, discussing, among other things, their shared desire for a different form of government or a different leader of government in Israel. That's what the reporting is. As you might imagine, these talks are on hold since the helicopter crash killed both the president and foreign minister. It's hard to make progress on such discussions when the people who you were having those discussions with, either directly or indirectly, are dead. So here's what we have known about this, and there's more to this. Hang on. Secret talks between Iran and the United States and Oman were making good progress, but have now been jeopardized by the sudden death of Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and his foreign minister. Brett McCurk, U.S. President Joe Biden's senior Middle East advisors, apparently held indirect negotiations earlier this month with Ali Bagheri Khani, who is Iran's point man for negotiations with the West, according to 3 Iranian sources that are close to the talks. The talks took place in Muscat, which hosted secret meetings between Tehran and Washington a decade ago. They were the first rounds of discussions between the U.S. and Iran since January. One source close to the talks, which were first reported by Axios, told Middle East Eye that discussions between Bagheri Khani and McCurk were progressing well and were close to reaching some sort of agreement. Bagheri Khani was deputy foreign minister at the time, but following the death of Hossein Emir Abdullahian in the helicopter crash that killed Raisi, is now the acting foreign minister. 3 subjects, we are told: a shared desire for a change in government in Israel, a discussion about ending Israel's war in Gaza and preventing the conflict from spreading elsewhere in the region. I mean, that sort of explains why they were now, so anxious to mourn the loss of Iran's president and foreign minister. Unbelievable. It's not a bad thing. I mean, you can understand why they had some reason to have conversations, but apparently, I think they crossed the line when the discussions entered into, we have a mutual a goal here is that we both want somebody else in charge of Israel besides Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, I remember even back during the Obama years, the Obamas had a disdain for Benjamin Netanyahu. and used to roll their eyes about, well, we got to have another conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu. I wonder what what kind of stuff we're going to have to put up with. They didn't like him. Didn't like him at all. But nonetheless, it is sort of inappropriate, I would think, to be having conversations with an enemy that is supporting Hamas, which carried out the October 7th attacks against Israel with the stated goal. One of the stated goals is that we want to see a different leader in Israel. Sort of not what you do to one of your most loyal allies behind their back. I don't know if you've ever watched Ted Cruz in action, but Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, was before a panel that he was on yesterday on Capitol Hill. And Ted Cruz had already picked up wind of this. It seems pretty clear. And he started to ask a series of questions. I mean, Lord help you if you ever have to be on the other side of the table against a cross-examination or a questioning by Ted Cruz. It went something like this. This is edited for time.
Senator. Mr. Secretary, you have presided over the worst foreign policy disaster of modern times. When Joe Biden became president, he inherited peace and prosperity in the world. We now have two simultaneous wars waging, the worst war in Europe since World War II and the worst war in the Middle East in 50 years. Both, I believe, were caused by this administration's consistent weakness. And indeed, your foreign policy is precisely backwards from what a rational American foreign policy should be. To our friends and allies, this administration has consistently undermined, weakened, and attacked them. And to our enemies, this administration has shown constant appeasement and indeed has flowed billions of dollars to the enemies of America who want to kill us. This administration desperately wants a new Iran deal. You have been showering cash on Iran from day one. And understand, the $6 billion you were asked about is the tip of the iceberg. By refusing to enforce oil sanctions, we have seen Iran's oil sales go from 300,000 barrels a day when you got into office to over 2 million barrels a day today. That's $80 billion. 90% of Hamas's funding comes from Iran in a very real sense. This administration, you and President Biden, funded the October 7th attacks by flowing $100 billion to a homicidal, genocidal regime that funded those attacks.
That statement is profoundly wrong.
Why?
I'm not even going to humor it. I think it's a disgraceful statement.
He's not going to humor it because there's a lot of truth in what he had to say. You know, there was a recitation of facts. During the Trump years, we did have quiet in the world. We had relative peace in the world. And look at where we are now. And it is, I think, Ted Cruz 1,000% correct. It all has to do with perceived weakness of the United States under Biden's guidance. It started with Afghanistan and just went downhill from there. It's wrong for the United States to be plotting against one of our longest and most cherished and treasured allies in that part of the world. And yeah, you may not like personally Benjamin Netanyahu, but Benjamin Netanyahu didn't start this whole thing. They seem to be bending over backwards to try to have some kind of a relationship with Iran, which is directly responsible for funding Hamas, and Hamas carried out the October 7th attacks. So understand where your government is right now, turning its back in many ways and being disloyal, I would say, to one of our longest allies in the region. There's going to be more on this. There'll be other shoes to drop. We'll keep an eye on this story. Another national security story which caught my eye, which I think is pretty scary. This from Newsmax. Russia last week launched a satellite that U.S. intelligence officials believe to be a weapon capable of inspecting and attacking other satellites. The U.S. Space Command said on Tuesday, as the Russian spacecraft trails, apparently, a U.S. spy satellite. Russia's Soyuz rocket blasted off from its launch site some 500 miles north of Moscow on May 16th, deploying in low Earth orbit at least 9 satellites, including a Cosmos 2576, a type of Russian military inspector aircraft U.S. officials have long condemned, and they say it exhibits reckless space behavior. We have observed nominal activity and assess it as a counter-space weapon, presumably capable of attacking other satellites in low Earth orbit, a U.S. Spacecom spokesman said in a statement to Reuters. Russia deployed this new counter-space weapon into the same orbit as a U.S. government satellite, which they won't identify. Of course, you know what it is. Cosmos 2576 resembled previously deployed counter space payloads from 2019 and 2022. The statement added, referring to past Russian tactics of deploying satellites close to U.S. spy satellites. So, this is the kind of game that the Russians are playing right now, and as far as I can tell, we do not play the same game. One of the things that Russia really hates is Elon Musk's Starlink system, which is also in low Earth orbit. I mean, honestly, Starlink gave internet ability in Ukraine at a time when they were doing everything they could to deny Ukraine of the ability to use GPS, and they took out all their internet. So the Starlink gave them back internet access. And, of course, with internet access comes a whole lot of other things. So the whole situation with them being able to take out satellites in low Earth orbit is a threat not only to our national security, but it is also a very aggressive action in space, and also puts at risk the Starlink system, which many people around the world are using now for their internet access. I've had some experience with Starlink. I tell you, it's an amazing system, and I was using it when it was still not quite all that it is now. They were still sending up satellites to fill in the gaps. It's a truly tremendous thing, but they want to be able to take that out, I think, as well as take out our satellites if need be. Just, spy versus spy stuff here. It's now, let's call it 20 minutes now, past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk. Grace Point Healthcare is the standard for affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine. How does it work? Well, as a direct pay provider, your health care is delivered without the red tape of an insurer's guidelines. Do you really want the insurance company making your health care decisions? Shouldn't that really be between you and your doctor? Smart Care plans make it even more affordable. Starting at $69 a month, you get free office visits and basic labs for an entire year. Grace Point identifies and treats the root cause of a condition, not just the symptoms, utilizing a comprehensive functional approach, and by usually seeing you the same day or the next day, you're treated at your convenience. Grace Point Healthcare is affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Learn more about this by giving them a call, 599-6868. They're on Main Street in Franklin. Again, that number, 615-599-6868 to set up your first appointment.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Got a severe thunderstorm watch in parts of the mid-state, as well as a flash flood warning for portions of Middle Tennessee. A man indicted after allegedly making threats at B&A. We'll tell you about that. A lawsuit involving Apple and an active investigation here in the Volunteer State. 3:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 23 minutes now past the hour, 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. There in the newsroom. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him. It's Mac Morey with all the news. And also, he's the star of the Runaway Hit segment that we do each day at 5:20, 22 or so, usually around 22 to be exact. It's known as, we really, at some point, need to lock down the name of this thing. Mac Morey's wide, weird, wacky, wonderful world of sports.
I mean, yeah, for branding purposes, trademark purposes, yeah, we've got to get on top of this.
We got to get that down. I mean, it keeps morphing into different things, but it is. I'm telling you, even if you don't care a whit about sports, you know, you need to have at least a working knowledge of what's going on, so you can talk to people about it. And he brings you like 2-3 minutes of just the best sports stuff. So
it's really concentrated. It's packed into a tight little window there.
He gets all excited.
I do. My adrenaline gets pumping.
He gets excited about it. And there's Chris Weber in the control room pushing all the blinky buttons. Chris is doing, of course, an excellent job there. And we have a trainee in the room today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got Jeff sitting here.
Jeff. Hello, Jeff.
Brian says hello.
Learn from the master is what you need to do.
That is true.
Where?
That is true.
Who is that? When are they getting here? I don't know.
Please.
Yeah. Well, anyway, how about this story? Do either of you guys watch have you watched Yellowstone?
Yeah, that's the one thing I never watched it.
I know you love it, Brian. I have not gotten the chance. My mom loves it, though.
I mean, everybody who got into it sort of liked it, and then there was this the guy it's about a guy named John Dutton. Basically, imagine remember the old show Dallas on TV, probably before your time, Mac. But Dallas was it was J.R. Ewing and then the Ewing family and all that. Well, this is like that, except imagine it was on HBO back in the day.
Okay.
Because the language is a little rougher, and as many shows are. Certainly, not always family friendly fare, but anyway, it's great characters and there's this guy named John Dutton. Well, in real life, it's Kevin Costner, and Kevin Costner has gotten into some kind of match with Taylor Sheridan, the guy who developed the whole series, and has about 35 other things going at any given time. And apparently they were unable to get him to come back. They shot and they played out the first half of season 5. And they're originally supposed to be a season 6, 7, and 8. I mean, they would go on for years because it was such a popular franchise. They wanted to keep it going as long as they could. But Kevin Costner got his nose out of joint over something. I don't know. They got into it, and now they are actually shooting the last 4 or 5 maybe episodes of Yellowstone without Kevin Costner, the lead character,
What?
Wow.
John Dutton. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
How's that going to work out?
Well, I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, they're talking it up. Some of the actors who are still with the franchise have said, you're not going to believe how good this is. Now, I don't know if that's just, trying to hype it up a little bit.
Yeah, what else are they going to say?
But
This
I mean,
sucks.
if Sheridan can pull this off in an interesting way, he will be the greatest television producer of all times, because I don't know how, excuse me, I don't know how you close out this entire series without Kevin Costner, the lead person in the role. How do you do it?
I wonder if they have like a stand-in, and then they're going to digitally put Costner's face on the actor's
Costner
face.
would never allow it.
Yeah, I guess he'd have to sign off on it, wouldn't he?
That's true.
Yeah, he's got his back up on this thing, and he's not happy with the way this has all been discussed.
Is this a money difference? Is this
apparently he says it's a scheduling difference. He said,
I thought it had to do with his divorce or whatever.
well, I mean, a lot of people thought that he did it because he didn't want to bring in all this money from Yellowstone and have it go to his now ex-wife. I don't know if that's true or not, but one way or the other, he says it's all about scheduling, and that that the scripts weren't coming on time, and he had other projects that he wanted to do, including one called Horizon, which apparently has something, is sort of a cowboy western thing as well. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe Taylor Sheridan felt like his project was a little too much like Yellowstone. I don't know. The first episodes of Horizon, which I've not seen, apparently are out. It's a movie, actually, not an episode. And it's getting mixed reviews. But it was sort of a passion project for Kevin Costner, and he was frustrated in that he couldn't get them to tell him, when I show up, how long I'm going to be there, and can I see the script ahead of time, please? It's sort of important. He had some creative control over that character contractually. So I don't know what it is, but they're going to go forward with the rest of season 5, which will play out in November, without the lead character.
That's really strange.
Nuts.
Maybe they'll just have scenes where they'll show him constantly leaving the rooms, just the back
The
of his
back
head.
of somebody's head. It looks like Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do it. For the second half of the finals, the cast and crew of those time come back to the show set without Kevin Costner. He's exited the series due to scheduling conflicts with Costner's movie project and creative differences. The popular Western drama will be concluding its run after Yellowstone season 5. Now, there's some kind of project out there with Matthew McConaughey that is Yellowstone related.
All right.
And they had a whole different storyline going that's basically shot on Sheridan's ranch in West Texas, probably involving the character Rip and Beth. And if you know the story, they're very strong characters. They can easily carry a series on their own. Those two characters are so strong and so well defined. And by the way, in Yellowstone world, beloved. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's baffling to me. But
I guess we'll find out soon.
I will find out whether Taylor Sheridan is really as good as everybody says he is, because I don't know how you're going to do this one. 30 minutes now past the hour, time for the news.
.30, Mac Maury with your top stories. 80 degrees, got some light rain headed towards Nashville. We got a severe thunderstorm watch in Tennessee until 7 o'clock in Montgomery, Dixon, Hickman, Lewis, Humphreys, Stewart, Houston, and Perry's counties. Again, that's a severe thunderstorm watch until 7 o'clock. Then we got a flash flood warning until 4:30 in Dixon, Houston, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Stewart counties. Got a full weather forecast and a traffic report coming up in 5 minutes. Staying here in Tennessee, crime at BNA. Channel 4 reports that a California man has been indicted after allegedly making threats at BNA. 31-year-old Eduardo Vicente Pelayo Rodriguez of Riverside, California, called the airport to say that he had planted a bomb on a plane and said, quote, "This is for ISIS," and, quote, "1 hour, boom." He's also accused of making swatting calls intended to create mass panic and threatening to commit mass shootings at 7 schools and cities across the country, including Sandy Hook, Connecticut. The FBI now involved in this investigation. And Apple's moving to dismiss a lawsuit the federal government filed accusing the tech giant of monopolizing the smartphone market. Mike Dubusky.
Back in March, the Department of Justice and 15 states sued Apple, arguing the iPhone maker stifled competition in the smartphone market by unfairly leveraging its ecosystem of products to push out rivals and raise prices. Now, Apple has submitted a letter saying it faces fierce competition from well-established rivals and is asking a judge to throw out the case. The government has a week to respond.
An active investigation here in Tennessee. There was a shooting in the Napier neighborhood early this morning on the corner of Fain Street and Fairfield Avenue. It happened around 5:45 a.m. One person went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The search for that suspect is ongoing. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
You know, no matter how they'd like it to be, there's no magic solution to back pain. There are no pills or spinal creams that will magically open up your spinal disc and take pressure off the nerves. I mean, that's what your problem is if you have your back hurting. You have two choices, really, only. Surgery, go under the knife, or non-invasive spinal decompression. Now, I chose non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I had a problem in the back of my neck. I had lower back issues, and it solved the problem. I'm telling you, I'm so much better. Their state-of-the-art facilities and high-tech equipment offer the latest non-surgical procedures. Getting better is important, so Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are offering half off spinal decompression treatment and half off the KT knee machine, which is sort of like spinal decompression, but it's aimed at the knee. It gently elongates the knee and allows the healing therapy to get deeper, where it can do a lot of good. And if you're a new patient, listen up. Listen to this. You get your exam, consultation, and first treatment for only $23. You got that on you. Listen, I'm Brian Wilson, and I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Why don't you call them today to set up your appointment? Here's the number, 615-246-5009. Again, 615-246-5009. Learn more at painisbad.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It is at 38 minutes now past the hour, 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair on this Wednesday, 22nd day of May. We got some thunder showers in the area, and we have a thunderstorm watch in effect for much of Middle Tennessee. So be aware and keep an eye, as they say, on the sky. Let's see. I guess we'll go to our 2024 update, and I got some new numbers from the battleground polls, and those are the ones that I think are really the most telling. And, look, you can look at a general election number and you can say, well, that's the horse race, and Trump leads there in most polls. But when you look at the battleground states, you're looking at where the crucial votes have to come from. Because some red states are going to vote red and some blue states are going to vote blue. It's the battleground states that you really got to keep an eye on. And indeed, this is good news for Trump, bad news for Biden. You ready for this? Hang on. Why can't I get that to go down? There we go. Trump in Arizona up by 5. In Georgia, Trump up by 5. In Michigan, this is the only one where Biden does okay. He's up by 2. In Nevada, Trump up by 5. North Carolina, Trump up by 6. Pennsylvania, Trump up by 3. Wisconsin, Trump up by 1. If these numbers are correct, then Trump would have more, probably very likely have more than the 270 electoral college votes he would need. Michigan has been all over the place, but it's tight in Michigan, no doubt, and tight in Wisconsin. But if he wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Nevada, Georgia, and Arizona, it would be a very good day for Donald Trump and a very bad day. Again, 6 out of the 7 battleground states, Trump is leading. And just to give you an idea on the general election numbers, here's the Real Clear Politics average of polls. They have Trump leading by 1 in the general election and the 5-way by 2. And the battleground states, Trump leads by 3. Again, you can win the popular vote and still not become president. What really matters is, do you rack up the right number of electoral college votes? And the magic number, as you know, because you're smart to learn cunning and sly and you listen to this program, is 270. You need 270 to win, 270 to win. White House, this guy, I'm telling you, Joe Biden is just a walking disaster. He gave a speech the other day to the NAACP, and then they come out later. You may not know this, but the president carries a sort of like a court reporter, and they come up with a transcript of everything that the president says, and then eventually the transcript is released. Well, some intrepid reporters have gone back and they compared the transcript to what actually was said. And so basically what has happened is, in the editing process, somebody has taken the transcripts and corrected the mistakes that Biden made in his speech. And in this particular speech, there were 9 of them. 9 things that were completely wrong, or that he said that didn't make any sense whatsoever.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. I'm humbled to receive this organization. It really inspires me. Saving millions of families $800,000 in prison, $8,000 in premium. For cracking down on corporate landlords who keep rents down. The mortality rate for black moms, who have nearly 3 times more likely to die. He calls the erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill patriots. Donald Trump has said if he loses again in November, there will be, quote, bloodshed. The NAACP spirit endures.
I mean, it's just mistake after mistake after mistake. 9 mistakes in one speech. And, and they sort of get caught red-handed here, because now the transcripts are what he meant to say, not what he actually said. That's no way to operate. 9 corrections. The worst one was when he said he was vice president during the pandemic. He wasn't vice president during the pandemic. He was actually president during the pandemic. He meant to say recession, apparently. But how do you know that? I mean, he makes that kind of mistakes. Now, look, the thing that you got to think about here is that he's reading off a teleprompter. I mean, this ought to be flawless. It's just read the words on the teleprompter and you'll be okay. And he gets it wrong 9 times in one speech. Imagine what he's going to be like on the debate floor when he goes, mano a mano with Donald Trump in the presidential debates. He won't have a teleprompter. He'll be, and I'm guaranteeing you that the next day, one of the big stories, if this thing actually happens, I'm not sure it will happen, but if the debate does go forward, the story is going to be how many mistakes Joe Biden made, and there'll be a bunch of them. There'll be a bunch of them. From the Washington Examiner, liberals sound the alarm. Hey, wake up, everybody! Biden is losing. The New York Times' Ezra Klein unfurled 7 theories for why Biden is losing to former President Donald Trump. The electorate hasn't turned on Democrats. A crucial group of voters has turned on Biden. I mean, really think about it, and I think he's right about this, in that if you look at some of the Democrats who are running for re-election in the United States Senate, they're doing very well, but in that same state, the president is not doing well. Biden is losing to Trump in states where Democrat Senate candidates are still ahead. The point here is that Democrats have a Joe Biden problem, not a party problem. New York Magazine's Jonathan Chait wrote, regular mainstream Democrat candidates are holding up just fine in the purple states. That's why Democrats in those races are in some cases running away from Biden. If you go out there and do a focus group, the focus groups all say he's 200 years old. You got to be kidding me. And the worst part about it is for unaffiliated voters of people that haven't made up their mind, they look at this and say, you've got to be kidding. And these are our choices. And they indict us for not taking it seriously. The Hill quoted an unnamed Democrat senator as saying, I keep thinking, how in the world can they put this guy forward when all the polls show him behind in the battleground states, where he's losing a great number of people who have always been a key constituency to the Democrat voters, young people, black voters, leaving in droves, and apparently very excited about voting for Trump. It's nuts. It really is nuts. And then this story, which I'm just going to read in its entirety, which is, I think, sad, but also, concerning that this is the mindset of so many people in America today. And I got to tell you, I've thought about it as well. A poll from Bloomberg, 49% of swing state voters expect violence. Nearly half of voters across 7 swing states said they expect violence around the presidential election in November, according to a new Bloomberg Morning Consult poll. Voters from Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin were asked, how much do you trust each of the following? That the election and its aftermath will be free from violence. According to the survey, 49% of respondents expect some degree of violence surrounding the election, including 31% who said not much to the question of trusting elections will be free from violence, and 18% said they don't have any concern at all. 35% said some in response to the question about trust, and 16 answered a lot. And that comes up, that's where you get your 49% number. Some said they expect some violence, some said they expect a lot. Sad commentary, isn't it? The same poll also found former President Donald Trump, now the presumptive GOP presidential nominee, leading Democrat President Joe Biden by 4 points among swing state voters in a theoretical matchup. According to a Rasmussen survey earlier this month, 4 in 10 likely U.S. voters think that a second civil war could occur in the United States in the next 5 years, with 37% saying a second civil war is more likely if Biden wins re-election. A quarter of those polled said a second civil war is more likely if Trump were to win in November. That we're even talking about this is scary. The Bloomberg Morning Consult poll was conducted May 7th through 13th and surveyed, roughly 5,000 registered voters from Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The margin of error is plus or minus 1 percentage point. 5,000 is a pretty big poll, actually, as these things go. And that's a low error rate. I mean, gosh, where are we in America when on the mind of, people in battleground states, at least, and if not on the mind of many, many Americans across the country, are thinking that the election that is on the horizon could, a good number of them believe that could end in violence. Let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope that's not the case. There you have it. It is now 48 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. The chairman of the Federal Reserve has said we're on an unsustainable fiscal path, that we're not going to pay off the $34 trillion debt anytime soon. You know what they'll do. They'll print money to pay the interest on the debt, weaken the U.S. dollar. Maybe it's time to save with gold or precious metals. Maybe you've thought about adding gold or other precious metals to your portfolio, but you feel like you really don't have the knowledge you need to make a smart decision. I got to be honest with you. That's how I felt. But I got the professional guidance I needed at Nashville Gold and Coin. I mean, have you heard the old saying about something being the gold standard? When it comes to finding an investment that protects you from runaway inflation, gold is the gold standard. It is a tried and true store of value, consistent across generations. So here's how it works. You call the folks at Nashville Gold and Coin and make an appointment. You sit down one-on-one. They'll answer all your questions and help you make a precious metals investment that is right for you. Gold and silver can be a safe haven in uncertain economic times, and my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin are standing by to answer all your questions about the precious metals market. And, by the way, when you come in, if you have some old coins laying around gathering dust, bring them along. You'll be surprised, I know I was, just how much they might be worth. To set up that one-on-one appointment, just go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. That's NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
A man facing charges after reportedly threatening airports all around the country, including right here, BNA. A record lawsuit in the state, an invitation to speak at Congress could be on the way to one prime minister, and a busy Memorial weekend ahead. Those stories at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 55 minutes now past the hour, 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. This story came out this morning that that home sales have fallen again in April after high mortgage rates dampened activity. I mean, of course, interest rates are up, and the big discussion has been, when are they going to come back down? And the Fed can't decide because inflation has been sticky, like jam or honey. It won't go down. And there's some indication that some of the Fed minutes that they're still worried about the lack of progress on inflation. But sales of previous owned homes decreased 1.9%, almost 2%. From the prior month. And again, it all has to do with interest rates, which, again, this is kind of news that works against Biden in his reelection effort. Sales of previous homes decreased 1.9 from the prior month to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 4.14 million. This, according to the National Association of Realtors, putting out a report on that today. Real estate still very sluggish. And Bidenomics, how's that working out for you? Taking a look at the markets now, Dow Jones Industrial down 200 points today. S&P is down 14. NASDAQ is down 31. All the major indices are flashing red. What's going on with that? Let's check in with John Maxon over at Beacon Capital Management for more. Hello, John.
Hello, Brian. Yeah, you're right. Market was down today, and really the latest Fed minutes really had a huge impact on that. They indicated that there's a lot of caution with the Fed right now. In fact, there was some Fed officials that actually said they'd be willing to raise rates. So the market doesn't like that, sold off a little bit. After hours, probably the biggest news today is going to be NVIDIA earnings that really beat Wall Street's expectations. Their earnings per share was up 461% year over year and 260+% on revenue. So at least that's good news. They announced a stock split. It's going to be really interesting tomorrow to see initial jobless claims. That'll certainly impact the Fed, along with durable good order on Friday. But the Fed minutes, market does not like that today.
All right. Thank you very much, John. And find out more about all the things that Beacon Capital Management can do to help you as you head towards your retirement. Make sure you're ready. Just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com. It's 58 minutes past the hour.
4 o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Currently 79 degrees here in Nashville and a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for all of Middle Tennessee until 7 o'clock tonight. Traffic and a weather forecast 5 minutes away. A Southern California man under arrest and facing federal charges for allegedly placing swatting calls to schools and airports around the country, including right here in Nashville. Alex Stone.
31-year-old Eduardo Rodriguez of Riverside is facing an 18-count indictment accused of placing swatting calls to create panic and get a police response. He allegedly threatened to commit mass shootings at several schools, including in Sandy Hook, Connecticut, where a gunman killed 26, mostly children, at an elementary school in 2012. Rodriguez is also accused of making a bomb threat to Nashville's airport. He's now charged with a list of crimes. If convicted, he could get decades in prison.
A record lawsuit in Tennessee. The Boughton family has been rewarded nearly $47 million after their daughter suffered permanent injuries during her birth in 2018. The jury ruled that one doctor and 2 nurses were negligent when giving care to that newborn baby, which led to the significant injuries. This is the largest verdict of its kind in Tennessee history. And in the nation's capital, Congress on the cusp of extending a speaking invitation to the Israeli Prime Minister. Stephen Portnoy brings us the latest.
It'll be a joint invitation. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer both want Benjamin Netanyahu to make his first address to Congress in 9 years. Schumer has called for new elections in Israel to replace Netanyahu, but he also expressed openness to hosting the prime minister this week after the top prosecutor at the International Criminal Court applied for an arrest warrant targeting him. Schumer called that move reprehensible.
And just seeing this now on CNN, some breaking news. Former presidential candidate Nikki Haley now stating that she will vote for presidential candidate and former President Donald Trump. Back here in Tennessee right now, the Nashville Metro Council voted against the construction of a Morgan Wallen sign for his bar in downtown with 30 no votes and just 3 yes votes. The group requested permission for an aerial encroachment at 107 4th Avenue North, where the new bar is being built. The council voted against it in large part due to his past criminal behavior. Most recently throwing a chair off of a rooftop bar, which nearly hit 2 police officers. And according to Nashville laws, any sign that encroaches on Metro's right-of-way must first be approved by Metro Council. And a busy Memorial Day holiday weekend ahead. Derek Dennis.
A record-breaking number of travelers expected to hit the road and take to the skies this Memorial Day weekend. AAA predicts 3.5 million people will fly over the holiday. That's a 4.8% jump from last year and marks the busiest Memorial Day weekend at U.S. airports since 2005. The most packed airports: Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, Chicago, O'Hare, and LAX. On the roads, a record high 38.4 million people are expected to travel by car over the holiday, 4% more than last year.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. 7 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson. I'm your friend and radio buddy, and you're listening to The Drive on this Wednesday, 22nd day of May. Yes, we got some thunder showers, some, pretty heavy showers moving through the area. I don't see anything that looks overtly severe, but, there's a lot of rain in these clouds. And I got to tell you, Chris, I looked at radar shortly before I came on the air, and I did not see storms like this. There were a few little scattered storms. These have really intensified in the last little bit. I'm telling you, they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was interesting. It got really, really dark outside the windows here in the studios, and came quite a shower there for about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's moving. It's a slash across Middle Tennessee. They go all the way from I don't know. I'm trying to get a good read here. Well, right across the center of it is Nashville. And how do I describe this? For those who don't have radar, I would say runs from about, from Springfield and a diagonal all the way down to Memphis, quite frankly, at that kind of slash, moving directly into the area from the west. So be aware that if you don't have showers, it's pretty clear these showers are going to be with us for a little while as they move across Middle Tennessee, rake across the Middle Tennessee area. But I don't, like I say, they look like pretty heavy rain, but I don't see any boxes. I see some, watches, but no warning. So I think we'll be okay. But be careful out there because you may find yourself in times of intense rain today as you're trying to make your way home. Well, let's head to the swamp. What do you say, Chris? I'm so glad I got out of that godforsaken place. 31 years, I got to Middle Tennessee as quick as I possibly could, but I had to endure a lot of years there. So let me see if I can help you understand some stuff about what goes on in that place we call the swamp. Okay, Karine Jean-Pierre today, making an announcement in the White House briefing room. Here we go.
Today we announced that the Biden-Harris administration canceled student debt for an additional 160,000 people, meaning 4.75 million Americans.
Wow. Here we go again. Remember, it was the Supreme Court which told Biden he couldn't do this, and he didn't seem to stop him. He went ahead and did it anyway. Apparently found some workarounds, he says, to the Supreme Court's concerns about paying off student loan debt. I still don't understand how they're doing this. I can't quite figure out how they're doing it without having any kind of legislation from Congress. But you're talking about, so far, $167 billion worth of debt, which has been forgiven. And the question was asked, what do you say to those folks who feel like, well, what about me? Why am I having to pay for all of this as a taxpayer?
Then is the White House's message to those Americans who did not attend college for a variety of reasons, perhaps, including perhaps that they didn't want to take on all the debt that went with it right now, that they feel like in some form they are responsible for allowing those who did not to pay their fair share.
So look, here's the thing. This is a president who has been very clear about making sure that he's building an economy that leaves no one behind, right? Making sure that...
How's that working out?
Who didn't get support because they didn't go to college?
I hear your question, but this is, if you look at what the president has done more holistically over the past 3.5 years, he has tried to build an economy for everyone.
Well, what she basically is saying there is, well, if you feel like you shouldn't have to pay for somebody else's student loans, tough stuff. We did some stuff for you. What is it? Well, there's a lot of stuff. We did a lot of stuff for you. I just don't understand. Who felt like Congress needed to weigh in on this before they did it? Nancy Pelosi did. She was adamant about it, that the president can't pay off student loan debt without action by Congress. Of course, when he started doing it, they all quit talking about that. But the bottom line is that it's not fair to Americans who did the right thing. Like my daughter just graduated from 5 years of college, and I'm so proud of her. But I got to tell you, I'm feeling like a real chump because I actually saved the money to send my child through college so she wouldn't have any student loan debt. I did what was responsible. I did the thing that I was supposed to do. And now, you got these other people who say, well, I can't afford to do that, so I'm going to have to take out a student loan. Okay, well, that's a loan. It's a loan. The definition of a loan is you borrow money and then you pay back that money with interest and pay off the debt. You are incurring a debt, and I know all these people are smart enough to do that because they went to college, right? And what about people who literally, the guy had the right question. What about if you're someone who decided for various reasons that college wasn't for you? Maybe you went out there and found another way to make a living that didn't require college. So why should you have to pay the debt of other people who took out those loans? It's just not right. It's not fair. And I got to tell you, it's a blatant attempt is what it is to buy votes for the coming election. Why? Because, well, the Biden administration knows that they're losing young people. And young people have been talking about student loan debt. Ironically, the last round of student loan debt that we talked about, I found out that a vast majority of the people, the biggest number of people who are going to benefit from the policies of the Biden administration and paying off this debt or forgiving the debt were people who made more than $300,000 a year and didn't need the help. There's something wrong about this. So horribly wrong. So, again, he continues to try to buy votes. They will use every lever of government at their disposal to try to buy votes. And they're doing it every step of the way, every turn, trying to do that. Let's see. The other thing, border issues. Karine Jean-Pierre was asked, why doesn't the president act unilaterally to solve the problem on the border?
The president has the authority to do something about this unilaterally. Congress is in a divided government right now. Why isn't he doing anything?
Why should he have to do it unilaterally? Why
should he do it unilaterally? Because, it's wrong what's happening on the border. It's a national security concern. It's a humanitarian crisis. Where do I start? And by the way, everybody comes across the border. By the way, it is violating the law. That's why you should do it. And by the way, you did use executive action to turn back all of the Trump policies. I think most people would be very happy if we could just go back to where we were with Trump. He said, well, listen to the whole exchange.
The president has the authority to do something about this unilaterally. Congress is in a divided government right now. Why isn't he doing anything?
Why should he have to do it unilaterally? Why should we do it in a legislative way? And let's not forget that negotiated.
Undo some of.
Wait. So you're.
See, she said the right thing there. The reporter said the right thing. Well, you've used executive action. You're using executive action to forgive loans. You use executive action all the time when it's to your liking. Why not use executive action here? Why not, just admit that the things that you did through executive action, by the way, to undo the Trump policies is what's causing the problem. She doesn't really have an answer.
You're right. He took many executive actions before. But in order to deal with what's happening at the border, in order to deal with a broken immigration system, you need law.
No, you don't. You need to go back to where we were beforehand. We don't need new laws. We need to enforce the ones we have on the books. By the way, as long as we're talking about the border, here's Bill Maloogian reporting on Fox about what he encountered in the San Diego sector.
For the first time since the 1990s, Border Patrol's San Diego sector is now seeing the most illegal crossings of anywhere on the southern border. And we were out here during the overnight hours as masses of men from around the world came through here. Take a look at this video. This was 2 a.m. right where I'm standing, right here in Jacumba, California, about an hour east of downtown San Diego, as we watch men from the Middle East and Asia pouring in here very nonchalantly as they cross illegally. Several of them are what are known as special interest aliens. That means they are coming in from countries with potential national security concerns, and they should be subject to additional DHS vetting. We talked to these guys. There was not a single one of them from Mexico. Take a listen to this. Where are you guys from? What country?
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
India.
India. Where are you from?
Turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah.
Turkey. Okay.
India.
India. Where are you guys from?
Turkey.
Turkey. Turkey. Where are you guys from?
China.
China.
Ecuador.
Ecuador. Where are you guys from?
India.
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 India. Sagar Baba.
India. India.
India.
India.
India.
India.
India.
India.
Yes. India.
India. All India?
India.
India. Iran.
Iran.
You're all from Iran. Why'd you come?
No freedom.
No freedom?
Yes, in Iran. Iran is a dangerous country. No freedom for speak, for writing, for singing, for thinking.
I mean, these folks are basically coming here and just basically they're taking the southern border route and coming across the border because they know that they don't want to get involved in a very long effort to come by through the regular process. So they do the irregular process. And by the way, every single one of those people you just heard as he went down the line paid significant money to the coyotes to get them across the border. Every time somebody comes across the border illegally, you are enriching the cartels of Mexico. And yet, they can't be bothered to take a few executive actions. I mean, they took executive action on student debt, but no. She said, well, why won't you take executive action to solve this problem? And her answer is, why should we? We should be outraged at this answer. I mean,
Congress is in a divided government right now. Why isn't he doing anything?
Why should he have to do it unilaterally?
Why? Because it's a problem that needs to be solved. And by the way, the only reason they won't do it is because they know that by going back and rolling back all of the executive orders and going back to where we were during Trump's time is something that will look bad politically. It's because of politics that they won't do it. No, they want Congress to act. And by the way, you're going to hear a lot of talk about the Senate is bringing up a border bill. It's already been rejected. It's not a bill that we could accept. It doesn't do the things that need to be done. It basically just makes, I think, an effort for asylum to be granted more quickly, provide perhaps a pathway to citizenship for people who came into this country illegally. Nothing in that bill is anything that Republicans can accept. They want more people, sure, they'll say, but you know why? Because they can process people quicker. Not because they want to actually stop the flow of illegal immigrants into this country. It's outrageous that it continues to go on. And all they do is say, well, why should we act? Why should we do something by executive order? Because the reason we have this problem is because you took executive order to roll back all the Trump policies. Why don't you fix what the problem you solved, or the problem you created, rather? 20 minutes now past the hour. Hey, have you ever thought about having a pole barn on your property? Well, the two brothers that run Stoltzko are two guys you really need to talk to. They're known for exceptional quality, craftsmanship, and fair prices. They can build a pole barn to your specifications with your needs in mind, and that, my friends, is the Stoltzko difference. You can use pole barns for all kinds of things. It can function as a classic tool or work barn, a garage, or even a place to live. Flexibility is key. They combine the classic post-frame barn look with the reliability of modern materials and techniques to give you a finished barn that will stand the test of time. They don't scrimp on quality. They don't cut corners. They believe their customers deserve only the best. Why don't you just go to their website, Stoltzko.com, that's Stoltzco, Stoltzko, and look at Stoltzko.com, look at some of the things they've done for other people, and you're going to then go, oh, yeah, I need me some of that. 615-622-5992. Stoltzko, where quality workmanship and great customer service is affordable. Here's the number, 615-622-5992. Learn more at Stoltzko.com. That's Stoltzko.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Former presidential candidate Nikki Haley tells us who she'll be voting for this November, plus our Money News Report, 4:30, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 24 minutes now past the hour, 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson. I am your friend and radio buddy, and we're so glad that you're with us on this Wednesday, rainy Wednesday. Buckle up because, the storms, while not, severe, are heavy. The rain is pretty substantial.
Having some pretty good flooding out to the west of Nashville.
Well, that would be the thing I would be concerned about because it looks like it's dropping a lot of water in a big hurry. Moving diagonally across the middle Tennessee area to right now. If you're in Murfreesboro, it's about to get rainy. If you're in Lawrenceburg, it's about to get rainy. If you're in Columbia, it's about to get rainy for you. Spring Hill, about to get rainy. So, this would be a good time to run out very quickly and bring in the cushions.
It's probably too late, guys. They're wet. Just leave them out there.
They ever said it? There's nothing worse, though, than going outside and sitting on a wet cushion.
Yep.
You don't know that it's wet.
Unsuspecting,
because if the water wicks up inside there and the top looks dry and you sit down and, ooh, that's not, that's exactly right. Exactly what it feels like. Let's do this. Yeah, it is. Well, remember, they're not done. Oh, well. Let the children sing. They're done. Here we go. Remember when we had the Bud Light thing, and the Bud Light went in the tank? And by the way, I've seen several stories. That was about a year ago. And I've seen several stories that saying 1 year after the debacle at Bud Light, it still is a problem and their sales are still low. Well, the monumental loss of sales because they went all woke. And as we've learned in the business world, woke equals broke. Then about the same time it was that we learned about Target. Target got into trouble for some of the things that it was putting up in the front of their stores. And a lot of people said, nope, we're not going to do business with Target. Here's a story. Target's sales fell 3.7% in the fourth quarter. That makes the four straight quarters of decline. Now, is it all because of that? No, it could have. Some of it have to do with the economy, but maybe there's a coincidence there. Now the question, this is really sad for me personally. Could Oreos be the next Bud Light? The cookie company, Chicago headquartered parent organization Mondelez International, will be confronted at its annual shareholders meeting on Wednesday, that's today, over how its LGBTQ marketing could tank business and irreparably tarnish the brand. As a shareholder in Mondelez, formerly Kraft Food, the National League and Policy Center, a nonprofit corporate watchdog, is warning the owner of Oreo and other American household favorites, don't make yourselves the next Bud Light. According to a 2-page proposal they will present to shareholders this week, Mondelez, they say, irresponsibly involves itself in politically divisive issues and is deeply embroiled in left-wing activism, consequently creating reputational and financial risk. Mondelez is playing by fire by joining forces with far-left gender ideologues, and they go on to name a bunch of them. Since at least 2020, the cookie kingpin has been a proud partner of PFLAG. It's Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, which actively lobbies against state laws that seek to protect minors from, gender surgeries and pushes so-called gender-affirming procedures on school-age children as young as 3 years old. So they say if you support PFLAG, then you are running the risk, they say, of becoming the next Bud Light. And then they, apparently they then show a bunch of advertisements on the web where it seems that Bud Light has been actively marketing and supportive of the LGBTQ community. I'm just saying, it probably, if past is prologue, will not work out too well for Oreos, and it's a damn shame because I love Oreo.
Is nothing sacred anymore.
I know. Because a kid will eat the middle of an Oreo first and leave the chocolate cookie outside for last. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
One of the great jingles of all time. A kid will eat the middle of an Oreo first and leave the chocolate cookie outside for last. Right up there with Oscar Mayer, the Wiener song. So there you go. I just pass it on, ladies and gentlemen. And that if I have to give up Oreos over this, then, I'm not sure, that I can go on. I mean, that would be sad.
There's always Hydrox, Brian.
Well, Hydrox are a cheap man's Oreo, and we can know that. We can all agree on that. They're okay, but they're not Oreos.
They'll do in a pinch.
I guess they may have to. 30 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock.
Bottom of the hour here at 4 o'clock. I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 80 degrees and a cloudy day. Got a severe thunderstorm watch in all of Middle Tennessee. Watching out for flooding right near Centerville, south of Clarksville. Got a forecast and a traffic report just ahead. Former Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley says this November she'll be voting for her former boss and opponent, Donald Trump. The one-time UN ambassador under former President Trump built a campaign around wooing independents, moderates, and anti-Trump Republicans. Speaking before the conservative think tank, the Hudson Institute, Haley criticized President Biden's handling of Israel, Ukraine, the border, the economy, and more, saying that's why she's backing Trump.
I stand by what I said in my suspension speech. Trump would be smart to reach out to the millions of people who voted for me and continue to support me and not assume that they're just going to be with him.
She says Trump has not been perfect on his policies, but she calls Biden a catastrophe. Now over to our money news. Daria Albinger filling us in.
Stocks do a midweek U-turn. The Dow fell 202 points. The S&P gave up 14 and the Nasdaq closed down 31. The latest Fed meeting ended with no change in interest rates. A review of the minutes found that members think it's going to take longer than previously expected for inflation to cool enough to justify reducing the interest rate, which is at a 23-year high. That means there may not be a rate cut this year as the Fed had forecast. Existing home prices fell 1.9% last month, pushed lower by high mortgage rates and high prices. A new airline is taking off this Memorial Day weekend, but humans are not top dog on Bark Air. It's focused on canine travelers who had to settle for stressful under-the-seat or cargo accommodations until now. The first flight leaves New York, bound for Los Angeles on Thursday. The price, one way for a dog and their human companion, $6,000.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
URFARB has a very different business philosophy. They staff all the locations with more staff than the average auto repair shop, just so that they'll be ready for your emergency when it comes up out of nowhere. Listen, have you ever noticed how hard it can be to get a right now appointment for vehicle repair? Some dealers, it can be more than 2 weeks out just to get the appointment, but not at Eurofix. Eurofix has been offering quality repairs that beat the dealer without dealer pricing since 1999, plus a 3-year nationwide warranty and the staff to fix your car now. If you're tired of waiting forever to get your car into the shop, why don't you call Eurofix? Owner Aaron Stokes says, we will never be too busy for our customers. We are here to take their pain away and take it away now. Eurofix repairs all European cars, and Eurofix says yes to speedy repairs when others can't or just won't. Family owned for some 24 years. Call 844-EUROFIX or visit myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It's 38 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. We have Pete Hegseth on the line from Fox and Friends. Fox and Friends on weekends. He does the weekend show there, and then and a host of other things. I mean, every time I look up, I see Pete Hegseth on the air. And then, of course, when he's not on the air, he's a resident with the rest of us here in Middle Tennessee, a resident of Sumner County. Where in the world is Pete Hegseth today?
I am in Sumner County watching the Lightning right now, and I'll be on Hannity tonight. I'm hosting Hannity, so I'll see you tonight.
You are? Now, it's fascinating. We've talked about this before. You will actually be hosting from your home.
Yes, I can do that when I'm here, thankfully. So
wow,
Fox and Friends obviously requires you being there because it's a group show. But when it's an individual show, I can do it from home.
Right. There's a cast of characters there, and you need the interaction and all of that. But it's just a solo show. Just go down where, in the basement or in the barn? Where is this thing set up?
I've got an option to either do it in my house or sometimes they send a studio van. A lot of times that works even better, so you can sit in a van right outside your house and do it. The magic of TV.
Oh my goodness, that's something else. That really is quite amazing. That stuff amazing. So I don't know if you've caught this because it just broke a short time ago. Nikki Haley said today she will be voting for Donald Trump. She made this statement during an interview in, I guess, South Carolina, according to the Dateline. I'll be voting for Trump. She says she thinks she has. There's a lot of work. I would urge him to work to reach out to the millions of people who voted for me and continue to support me, and not just assume they're going to be with him. I genuinely hope he does that. But I mean, that's sort of a big deal because she's been pulling in some of these primaries. I don't know, 15% or more in some primaries. So what do you read into all that?
I think it's a good step. You want to see that consolidation, that you want to see some unity. I will vote for somebody is different than I will actively endorse them and campaign for them and advocate for them, which is the next step I would want to see. Maybe this is just a gradual step in a full consolidation. I mean, if she truly is invested in making sure that we don't have 4 more years of the disaster that is Joe Biden, then she should be on the campaign trail every day between now and Election Day trying to get Donald Trump elected. And that would do her a lot of good for her ambitions for a future run. I don't think this is a precursor to being the vice presidential nominee. I think that ship has sailed. I think Trump has said that.
I was going to ask you about that because a lot of people think that would be a way to really heal the rift and that she would bring a lot of people into the tent, perhaps.
Maybe, and I understand those political calculations. I think Trump is looking ahead enough toward actually governing that I don't think that he would want a White House where there's a breach of trust that significant for someone who would be his VP, especially what he's up against in the onslaught he's going to get. He's going to need a ride or die right there with you, backup singer all the way. And I just don't think that's her. And he said that. I think she probably knows that. But if she's serious about wanting to court, she will not be the nominee in 2028 if she tap dances and does half measures on Donald Trump and something goes sideways and he doesn't win. That will doom her chances. So I think it behooves everybody for her to be an outspoken advocate, and I hope there's more of it.
All right. So who do you think is going to be the backup singer? Who's going to be the ride or die? I mean, it seems to change every time you look at it. Right now, a lot of people say it's Rick Scott, but I've heard Burgum. I've heard a lot of names thrown out there. I like Rubio if he would do it, but what do you like?
I have no idea, Brian. I have no idea. I wish I had a crystal ball. I read all the same stuff you do. I see the who's up, who's down. There's been a lot of Tim Scott. There was a lot of Doug Burgum a couple of weeks ago. And then what you saw the minute Doug Burgum talk increased, you saw an onslaught of negative stories about how the Republican Party up in North Dakota doesn't like him and they didn't want him to be a delegate because he's a rhino and he's this for climate. And, so I don't think when it gets real serious down to 2 or 3, we're going to get real serious vetting of some of these people in a far more significant way. I mean, Kristi Noem self-vetted herself
out
of the process.
Oh.
She did. So I think J.D. Vance is a sleeper option because he's really smart. He's from he's got kind of that working class Rust Belt feel to him, and he's been very loyal to Trump. He's a possibility. I've heard Rubio's name too. I don't know. I don't think I've said before on your program, Tulsi Gabbard. I don't think it's seriously being considered, but I like that for some unique reasons to reach out to independents. I don't think the vice president pick's going to matter all that much, Brian. I think this is a referendum on Trump and on Biden, and they're number 2. It's probably safer to go with better idea to go with a safer pick than try to shoot the moon and triangulate with something that looks too cute and disrupts what is otherwise, it looks like a good opportunity for Trump right now.
Something we've talked about in the past, and I saw a poll that sort of backed it up, is that 7 out of 10 voters in the battleground states say they've already made up their mind, that they're locked in, which means not only about 30% of our, but the other thing that I saw in that same poll was that about half of the independents are still undecided. And, surprisingly, a lot of independents are leaning toward Trump in this particular race and away from Biden. But what do you think about that? I mean, is it pretty much locked in? I think that, like you said, it doesn't matter too much what happens in the courtroom in New York. Doesn't matter too much happens about who he picks as a vice president. a lot of people have sort of made up their mind one way or the other that they're going to vote for Trump or Biden.
Yes, that's true, but that's where polls could be very deceptive. 7 of 10 may want to say they know who they're voting for, but what I want to know what is their propensity to vote? How likely are they as voters, and who is targeting them and pulling them out? Because Biden's got a serious enthusiasm gap. I mean, a massive one. There's no one lining the roads to meet Joe Biden. There's no one going to events. The only people enthusiastic at Joe Biden rallies are the protesters. Like, there's no one clamoring for more Joe. So that machine has to kick into really high gear on low propensity voters or non-voters to bank votes, and that's what's going to matter. That's why the polls almost matter less than ever before, because we know where the enthusiasm is, which means Republicans have to bank those votes too. Because I think in most cycles, numbers are, if I've looked at a few of these historically, it's not surprising that 7 of 10 would have mostly made up their mind by now. That's pretty standard considering Republican and Democrat breakdowns. So you're always battling over the minds of a third of the population who may or may not have a lower high propensity. It's, can you get your people out? And I think Trump has an advantage, but not against the machine.
So the current president of the United States gave a speech to the NAACP, and then when they put out the transcript, we found that they had corrected him 9 times. 9 different mistakes that were made during that speech that needed correction. When the transcript came out, they put in the words that they thought he meant, because it certainly done. That's not exactly what he said. And I think about that. Here's a man reading off the teleprompter. You know, it should be pretty flawless. Just read the words before you there, and he messed it up 9 times. Can you imagine what it's going to be like at this debate? And that's why I keep thinking they can't possibly be serious about sending him into a debate with Trump. And are they really serious about keeping him as the nominee? I've seen some more chatter about that on the left side of the equation.
I have too, and anything's possible, especially if they get more and more desperate leading into their convention, which is the later convention, and so they have more time to figure that out. I think that's part of the reason why they're agreed to do the debates early, or at least some people around him, is let's get a favorable format, sitting down, very scripted, no audience, cutting off mics. You know, the lefties will want to cut off Trump left and right. Drug him up with whatever cocktail they think works, and try to fight Trump to a draw or something like a draw, because the expectations are going to be so low for Joe, low that the downside is if Trump overplays his hand too much, but he's going to want to try to do that to try to get Joe to react. I think here's the thing. I think he's going to debate, and I think he's going to be the nominee, and I think it's hard to believe, but it's because Joe and Jill are the ones that have to make that call ultimately. And so far, it seems they're locked into doing it. The transcript thing, though, here's what I didn't know when looking into that. I didn't realize things like that are super rare. That in history, when the White House does that, the press corps goes nuts. Like even really
that's true.
All to be deceptive. And we're at the point where they just do it on the regular. Now they just do 9 times. Now they're just doing it all the time. So again, the White House that was going to bring us back to normalcy is the one that's breaking all those norms in service of their senior citizen.
I can confirm that, because when I covered Clinton and I covered Bush W at the White House, there would be unmitigated hell raised if they were changing the transcript from what was actually said. With the only reason we know this is that somebody went through there and listened to the interview, listened to the speech again, and then read the transcript with it and spotted 9 different times where they made changes to what he actually said. So yeah, we would have raised hell about it.
Well, it's also someone had to do that, and that someone was Fox. Like the media at this point isn't going to do that if it's not Fox or it's not conservative talk radio. So they've given in. They're in the tank for Joe at this point.
All right. Pete, again, I want to give you a quick shout out about your new book that's coming out, because I heard you talking about it earlier today on Fox. You're getting close.
Yes, thank you, Brian. June 4th is when the book is released. So if you think about it, it's a great timing for Father's Day. You can get it in time to get it for your dad or for a summer read. It's about the Pentagon, why it's so important, what the left is doing to it, what my experience was. I was even dubbed an extremist, and how they're pushing certain people out of the military to make it something that it was never intended to be. So the book's called The War on Warriors. It's not a thick read. Like, it's the kind of thing you can get through, and I think you'll enjoy it. So thanks for the time.
All right, good deal. It's always a pleasure to have you. We'll talk to you next week.
You got it, Brian. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. It is now 49 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. Let me tell you about the folks over at Genesis Diamonds. Are you getting engaged this spring? Well, don't make her settle for one of those knockoff, mass-produced rings you find at most jewelry stores. I mean, get to Genesis Diamonds. Get her that one-of-a-kind ring she really wants from a world-class designer. Genesis Diamonds has the rings that are on every woman's wish list. Truly handcrafted rings made in the U.S., names like Sequoia and Verragio and Henry Dossi. Other stores are not even allowed to sell these amazing brands, but you can get them at Genesis because they carry all the best brands. And because Genesis is a direct diamond importer, you get the best prices on diamonds, and you can choose between natural and lab-grown diamonds. So get the total package at Genesis, one-of-a-kind ring and a great diamond at an amazing value price. And remember, unlike other stores at Genesis, there are no commission salespeople. The experts at Genesis are there to help you, not push you. You'll get zero pressure, no pricing games. You see, Genesis is family-owned. They have an incredible reputation, known for doing business the right way with honesty and integrity. Genesis Diamonds, the only jeweler I recommend for quality selection and value. You can't beat them. 2 locations, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Got some severe thunder warnings in effect. We'll tell you where those are at. Nikki Haley announcing who she'll vote for in November. Crime at BNA, a suspicious package delivered to the RNC this morning. And an update on the possible sale of Graceland. Those stories and more. 5 o'clock, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, this Nikki Haley news is just breaking, and I don't not to scoop you on it. It is sort of a big deal that an opponent of Donald Trump's way back in the primaries, the one last holdout. She's still on the ballot in a lot of places. She's been pulling about 15. I think the other day I saw 15, maybe 17% of the vote. And so, and some of that, no doubt, is Democrats who are crossing over whenever they can to cause problems for Donald Trump. And then that 17% probably won't be 17% because when it comes down to the general election, they'll go back to being Democrats. But that is interesting, and it is the big breaking story. We'll have the latest on that and a whole bunch of other stuff coming up, including Mac Maury's wide, wild, wacky, weird, wonderful world of sports. It's all straight ahead right here on The Drive, 57 minutes now past the hour.
Five o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Currently 77 degrees, a rainy, stormy day across Middle Tennessee. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning until 5:15 in effect in Overton, Smith, Jackson, Clay, Macon, and Trousdale counties. Again, that's until 5:15. A severe thunderstorm watch in effect for all of Middle Tennessee until 7 p.m. And a ground stop has been issued at BNA due to these thunderstorms in the area. That could expire by 5:45. Traffic, complete weather forecast in 5 minutes. Speaking of BNA, we'll stick right there. Crime there at the airport. Channel 4 says that a California man has been indicted after allegedly making threats at BNA. 31-year-old Eduardo Rodriguez of Riverside, California, called the airport to say that he had planted a bomb on a plane and said, quote, "This is for ISIS," and, quote, "1 hour, boom." He's also accused of making swatting calls intended to create mass panic and threatening to commit mass shootings at 7 schools and cities across the nation, including Sandy Hook, Connecticut. The FBI now involved in that investigation. In politics, former Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley says this November she'll be voting for her former boss and opponent, Donald Trump. The one-time UN ambassador under former President Trump built a campaign around wooing independents, moderates, and anti-Trump Republicans. Speaking before the conservative think tank, the Hudson Institute, Haley criticized President Biden's handling of Israel, Ukraine, the border, the economy, and more, saying that's why she's backing Trump.
I put my priorities on a president who's going to have the backs of our allies and hold our enemies to account, who would secure the border. No more excuses. A president who would support capitalism and freedom.
And she said that Trump wasn't perfect on his policies, but she called Biden, quote, a catastrophe. And sticking with politics, the Republican National Committee now responding to a suspicious package delivery that occurred this morning. It led to a shutdown of the building. Capitol Police say the package contained 2 vials of blood. A department spokesperson said the source of the package and its contents are both under investigation. Brittany Shepard brings us more.
The RNC now calling Wednesday's incident a biological attack. In a statement, Chairman Michael Whatley suggested, without evidence, a connection between the scare, pro-Hamas protests, and, quote, deranged Biden supporters. Whatley then insisted that RNC remains vigilant in their quest to bring former President Donald Trump back to the White House.
And a possible sale of the Elvis Presley estate has been blocked in court for now. Jason Nathanson.
Graceland, sticking in the family. An attempt to put the historic Memphis estate on the auction block Thursday was blocked by a court chancellor Wednesday morning in a hearing that lasted less than 10 minutes. The company attempting the sale, Nosany Investment, says before she died, Lisa Marie Presley signed documents putting up Graceland as collateral on a $3.8 million loan. And Nosany was going to sell Graceland Thursday to get their money back. But the supposed notary on the signature says they never notarized the deed, backing up Riley Keough, Elvis's granddaughter's claim of fraud. A future hearing will officially decide ownership of Graceland.
And because of the severe weather, seeing on I-40 portions of the interstate backed up due to flooding and high water levels. We'll keep you updated right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
7 minutes past the hour of 5, hour number 3 of the drive now kicking off. And be careful out there as you're driving home. We got some low-level flooding going on in some areas and a lot of heavy rain. So take it slow, take it easy. The most important thing is to get home safely while we bring you news and information that will bring you up to speed, including this story. I just hate it. I just hate it when things don't go well.
Hello. There we go. Good grief.
That's right. Signs. They're everywhere. I love the 5-man electrical band. They were a great group.
Did they do anything other than this one?
Yes, you were. One of my favorite songs is "You Were Absolutely Right. You've Been Right All Along. You're absolutely right, and I was wrong." That was a great hit.
I don't know if I know that one.
Yeah. Anyway, the reason we're playing this song, we're not singing it, we're playing it, is that there's a big controversy over signs in downtown Nashville. Have you heard about this? Oh, just crank it up for a moment. In my mind. Well, anyway, that's enough of that. Morgan Wallen has a problem that he didn't sign up for about signs. Have you heard this?
What was that?
What?
Laugh.
That was mine. I was trying to telegraph to the audience that I told a joke. It was a very bad joke. It wasn't even worth laughing at. That's why you got one of. Country artist Morgan Wallen's upcoming new honky tonk will not have a large sign outside of it because the Metro Council has said no. As its May 21st meeting, the Metro Council voted 30 to 4 against an application for his new bar and its ownership group, 4th Avenue Property LLC. They had submitted for a large illuminated sign for the upcoming venue. Brought by Councilmember Jacob Coupin, the resolution would have allowed for the aerial encroachment. Apparently, you have to get permission to have a sign that sticks out, I guess, over the sidewalk at the bar's 4th Avenue home. And he said it came across his desk about the same time that Morgan Wallen decided, allegedly, no, not really, we know he did it, decided to throw a chair off a rooftop, nearly hitting some first responders and police that were down below. Since then, Coupin said he's heard from people who've had similar near misses, and it struck him, we're putting up a sign with someone's name on it that has not been a good actor downtown. Because Wallen has since made efforts to make amends for the behavior, Coupin felt he felt comfortable moving the issue forward, noting that TC Management Group, which is managing the food inside the upcoming bar, has been an excellent partner downtown. They've been easy to access. They've been in conversation with me. They've worked on efforts to make downtown a safer place. But the resolution quickly took a turn, with council members stating that they could not support the sign or the bar while passing the legislation designed to affirm Nashville's status as a welcoming place for all. Delisha Porterfield said during the meeting she would not support the resolution, saying she could not support someone who throws chairs off a downtown roof bar and someone who uses racial slurs. Councilmember Brenda Gadd said she could not in good conscience support the resolution, given that Wallen has received multiple chances to improve his behavior and has not taken up the mantle in doing so. Councilmember Jordan Huffman said Wallen gave East Tennesseans like himself a bad name. His comments are hateful. His actions are harmful. And he don't belong in this town as far as I'm concerned. That's a direct quote. And said, and I'm tired of this city bending over just to make anybody happy to make a comment they want to. We can't continue to go down this road. I encourage my colleagues to vote against it. And they did in a huge way. You know, ooh, lightning. If it's just as simple as that, if you act a fool, you should be held accountable. And Republicans and Democrats came together to send a unifying message to Mr. Wallen last night that if you want to own an establishment within your own city, you need to know that the city will hold you accountable for your actions. Well, you know, this is the price you pay for bad behavior. Look, is this the right way to go about doing it. I mean, look, Morgan Wallen probably in the grand scheme of things can have a very successful bar without there being a sign outside of it. But again, this is what they call the chickens coming home to roost, right? I mean, a lot of people forgave him for the racial slur when he, seemed to be making the right moves. He seemed to be contrite about it. He went and met and received education and walked away, I think with many people saying, okay, we're going to give you that one. But then, and then he pulls another stunt like this, like throwing the chairs off the top of his rooftop, of a rooftop bar, not his. Honestly, I hate it when, politics gets involved in business, but I mean, you had to see this coming, right? We don't tolerate hate or bigotry. We don't tolerate people throwing stuff off buildings. My goal was to make that statement clear and try to draw that distinction from the actual sign itself. It's a really tough balance because you've got this individual that's working against some of the initiatives we have going on, but you also have a bar owner group that's working with the initiative they have going. And see, the thing about it is, it may be Morgan Wallen's name on the bar, but like most of these bars downtown, I think with maybe a few notable exceptions, I think Garth is different. I think his bar is different. But I think a lot of these bars, they lend their name and they show up there on occasion, and it's a nice way to promote their brand. But really what you hire a company to come in and basically run the thing for you. It's a deal where a company comes in and sets up the bar, runs the bar, and then they borrow your name. But in most places, when the bar goes up, the name has a good reputation. Now, Morgan Wallen is I think, one of the most popular. I'd say he's probably the most popular. Would you say, Chris, that right now probably there's nobody more popular in country music radio than Morgan Wallen?
I'm no expert on country music, but yeah, I would say he's right up there for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, I think he is. But again, his behavior has been a problem. I don't know. Did the council wander into areas that, politically that perhaps I wish they wouldn't, maybe so, but I got to tell you, this is what happens. The chicken's coming home to roost. When you act badly, people remember it, and you can't just laugh it off. That's the thing about Morgan Wallen. That young man, I hope that he gets the help he needs, because it sounds like to me his problem is exacerbated whenever he drinks. And that's the problem. The man has, it would seem, evidence seems to suggest a problem with alcohol. And what we really want is for him to solve that problem. Maybe owning a bar is not the right solution for a man who has a problem with alcohol. I don't know. Something to think about. And by the way, alcohol, not so big a deal anymore. Did you hear this story? You'll see where I'm going with this. Millions of people have now said that they use marijuana daily or nearly every day. And they say that there are now more people who say they use marijuana daily than there are who say they drink on a daily basis. In America today, that's hard to believe, but it's true. Alcohol is still more widely used, but 2022 was the first time this intensive level of marijuana use overtook daily and near daily drinking. People use marijuana more often, they say, on average, than they drink. And that is interesting. Given the fact that we've now just seen the Biden administration begin the process of changing marijuana from a Schedule I drug to a Schedule III drug, many people are wondering, well, does that mean now there will be some movement in the state of Tennessee to solve that? And here's what we always hear. Number one is, well, as long as it's a Schedule I drug, we can't do it while it's a Schedule I drug. Well, if it becomes a Schedule III drug, as now seems obviously it will, then does that change the outlook for legislators in the state of Tennessee? A lot of people in the state legislature, I think, are still against the idea, but it'll be interesting to see whether or not it picks up any traction next January when the council comes back in. I mean, when the legislature comes back in. This story from WKRN Majority of Tennessee voters favor legalizing recreational cannabis. The semi-annual poll's most recent survey found that more than half the state's voters support a woman's right to an abortion. I'm a little surprised by that number. I'm not sure I believe it, but there's that. And then that they support modest gun control legislation. Again, have you been in Tennessee? And then that apparently they have a belief that a majority of them, let's see, what is it? Cannabis popularity has grown significantly over time, with a 2018 poll by MTSU showing more than 80% of Tennesseans support some capacity of legal cannabis. Many of the border states have legalized cannabis in some form, mostly for medicinal purposes. Kentucky is the latest neighboring state to approve a medical cannabis program. They approved it in 2023. Missouri and Virginia both have full recreational weed approval. Wow. It's just, I mean, it really, honestly, about half the states in the nation now have some form of legalization of marijuana. But 80%? If it were truly 80%, then how could you possibly stop the state legislature from doing it? I mean, if state legislatures the people you send to the state legislature, if they are truly representative of the people, would obviously know that there's a heavy demand for this and they would go forward with it, and yet they don't. And yet they haven't. I don't know. There's several things about this poll that just jump out at me and I go, I don't know. That doesn't sound like the Tennessee that I know. It certainly doesn't. Here's another story, this one from the Tennessean. Where do lawmakers fall on legalization of cannabis? Earlier this month, the U.S. Justice Department submitted a notice from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Tennessee House Republican Caucus Chair Jeremy Faison is one of the lawmakers praising the action. I think it's an excellent move on the federal government part. It needs to happen. There are many Tennesseans who have been safely using the cannabis plant for various and sundry reasons. This allows research to prove the overwhelming anecdotal evidence that cannabis is a viable option for people who are sick. So he's talking medical marijuana there. Faison said reclassifying cannabis will open doors for universities to do clinical trials, some of which could happen in Tennessee. So my gut is when that happens, when there are double-blind studies on the benefits of the plant's use medicinally, my gut is that's when that happens. The state of Tennessee will be open to allow our universities to do studies. So, Tennessee is one of 7 states without a medical cannabis program, one of the only states without a program in the Southeast, according to this story. I don't know. I think we may be headed that way. It would seem to me that it seems inevitable. I mean, slowly but surely, whether I like it or not, this is going to happen. And the only thing I would say, can you hear that?
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, that was pretty close. The only thing I would say about a medical marijuana or marijuana at all is do not go through the process and make the mistake that so many states have made, which is to say we're going to decriminalize it, but we're not going to legalize it, which leaves it in a very gray area. And all that does is it makes people still go to the black market for marijuana, but because they're not going to be prosecuted for having it, there's a bigger demand for it, and it really becomes a problem. And then the fights break out between all of the various marijuana suppliers, and it turns into real ugliness and violence on the street. So I would simply say, do it or don't do it. But a half measure is a bad, bad idea. 21 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. King & Associates Insurance in Brentwood, over 25 years in business. Independent agencies are a good idea, and they are one. And why are they a good idea? Well, because they have the ability to shop around and find that insurance policy, that fits your needs specifically. They don't have to just take the one that they sell, the one right off the shelf, and then try to make it yours. That's sort of like taking a square peg and trying to put it in a round hole. Sometimes they just don't fit well, but they can find one that will really work well for you. And what does that mean? It means that you get more bang for your insurance dollar, more bang for the buck. That's right. and then you're going to get great customer service. You call this number, 615-329-8121. Surprise, surprise, surprise. You'll be shocked, stunned, and amazed to know that an actual person will answer the phone every time. You're not going to be put on hold. You're not going to have to wait on a phone tree. You're not going to have to listen to that recording about how important your call is when you know it's not. They are the kings of the multi-policy discount, 20, 25, 30, 35%, huge savings. So why don't you get your royal review with King & Associates now? See how much money you can save. Log into tkinginsurance.com. That's tkinginsurance.com. King Insurance & Associates. You'll get royal treatment and great rates.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
We got some new severe thunderstorm warnings in place in Middle Tennessee. A Southern California man under arrest after allegedly threatening BNA. School bullies could be behind bars, and we've got some Hunter Biden news. 5:30 Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat.
That's right. It's time for Mac Maury's wide, wacky, weird, wonderful world of sports. And now, without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, who will bring us all the knowledge that he has and possesses on the issue of sports, even the ones we don't care about. It's Mac Maury, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that's very nice. It's very nice of you.
Well,
even the ones you don't care about. Well, there's probably more that you don't care about. Yeah, exactly.
That was just mean of me. I'm sorry. All right, you're up.
All right, so hockey conference finals starting tonight. Florida Panthers at the New York Rangers. This will be game one of the conference finals on that side. The Florida Panthers are favored by 1.5 goals today. They're minus 114. High over-under for a playoff hockey game at 5.5, so you could hit the over. You think 6 goals could be scored tonight. So two high-octane offenses going at it. And you never really know what's going to happen. If you are a betting man, this is the time to catch those lines because game one, you Even the people setting these lines don't really know how the series is going to go. They haven't watched these two teams play in a playoff atmosphere this season. So Game 1, Florida Panthers, New York Rangers, and then tonight in the Western Conference Finals in the NBA, the sport you don't care about, Brian, Dallas Mavericks taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves at Minnesota. And this will be a really fun series. Two young and up-and-coming stars. 22-year-old Anthony Edwards could be the face of the league here in a couple of years. And then you've got 25-year-old Luka Doncic, the Don, and who's just been fantastic. One of the best scorers that we've ever seen.
What's that name again?
Luka Doncic, the Don.
The Don.
The Don.
It's
pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Okay.
I like that.
And then last night was Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals Eastern Conference Final. Yes, in the NBA. Pacers took on my Celtics 133-128. An overtime win for Boston.
Wow.
It seemed like all hope was lost for Boston. It seemed like they were going to let Indiana come up and steal Game 1 in the Garden. This is a Pacers team that's coming off of a Game 7 that they played on Sunday. So they just had a day of rest until Game 1 yesterday. Boston, meanwhile, hadn't played in over a week. And it's really that rust versus rest theory. You know, are you actually rested or are you really rusty because you haven't played in 8 days or so?
Where are you on that? Because I think it's a great question.
You know, I'll take rest. I will take rest, and if it means I'm rusty for the first 10 minutes, fine.
They got the muscle memory that it's not going to be. But what they really need is to repair and let their bodies heal before they get out there on the. It seemed like to me that'd be the way to go.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, I mean, you don't win a series in one game, and I need you for the long haul here. And if a guy gets hurt, that means I've got my bench, nice, healthy legs ready to go. Especially a team like the Celtics, who one of their best players, Kristaps Porzingis, has been out since the first round with a calf injury. He's their 7'2" phenom center who can shoot 3 balls. He's been out for the past 2 rounds. So they've got their backup center, 38-year-old Al Horford, playing 30-plus minutes a game. They needed that rest. The Celtics did, however, take over in overtime. They were able to win 133-128. And Mike Breen, the legendary play-by-play commentator for NBA, Mike Breen, did his legendary double bang. So he has this thing where he goes, and Chris Webber for the 3, bang, and it's his trademark, right? Some guys have their trademarks. He's only ever done 8 double bangs, and he did one last night for Jaylen Brown, hitting the game-tying 3-pointer at the end of the regulation. Let's give this a listen, just to kind of give you a little hint of what Mike Breen is on a double bang call.
He gets 3. Throw it in the corner. Brown fakes, fires up the 3. Bang! Bang! Jaylen Brown knocks down the 3 to tie the game.
So usually you just get that one bang, but he did the double bang. So that was the double bang.
Well, no. I've heard. I remember I had a sports guy used to go whenever there would be like a home run in a baseball game. He'd go, "Boom, Dad."
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So, what is your catchphrase going to be? I mean, as you move forward, someday you're going to be a full-time sports guy somewhere. I don't know where, but it's going to happen. You're going to have to come up with that catchphrase. Have you thought about it?
No, I have not thought about it. There's so many good ones. The grand salami. I don't know. That's going to be that's a good question.
That's really important. As you got to have a catchphrase.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I keep this buzzed hair, I'll incorporate the buzz, because you've been calling me Buzz these past couple days. Maybe I can incorporate that.
I don't know.
Yeah, you have to work on that. Get back to us.
Yeah, I will.
See if you come up with something better than that. All right. And on that note, time for the news at 5:30.
.5:30, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Monitoring some thunderstorms throughout Middle Tennessee. A severe thunderstorm warning in Overton, Pickett, Cumberland, Smith, DeKalb, Jackson, Clay, White, Putnam, and Fentress counties until 6 o'clock. Also got a severe thunderstorm watch until 7. And because of these storms, we had a tree fall in a Robertson County home due to that weather. Latest traffic report and a weather forecast in 5 minutes. Currently 72 degrees on Music Row. A Southern California man under arrest and facing federal charges for allegedly placing swatting calls to schools and airports around the country, including right here in Nashville. Alex Stone.
31-year-old Eduardo Rodriguez of Riverside is facing an 18-count indictment accused of placing swatting calls to create panic and get a police response. He allegedly threatened to commit mass shootings at several schools, including in Sandy Hook, Connecticut, where a gunman killed 26, mostly children, at an elementary school in 2012. Rodriguez is also accused of making a bomb threat to Nashville's airport. He's now charged with a list of crimes. If convicted, he could get decades in prison.
Back here in the volunteer state, Tennessee might start putting school bullies in jail. The Tennessee Star says a bill becomes law on July 1st that treats certain types of bullying as harassment, which is punishable by up to 11 months in jail and a $2,500 fine if it interferes with the student's educational benefits or if it threatens or causes physical harm or emotional distress. And it doesn't matter if it's on campus or off campus. And Hunter Biden's trial on tax charges in L.A. now officially postponed until September, as we hear from Alex Stone.
A federal judge here in L.A. is granting a motion from Hunter Biden's legal team to move his trial from June to September, giving his attorneys more time to prepare. His lawyers argued Biden's June 3rd trial in Delaware on gun charges would make a June 20th tax trial in L.A. tough to handle. The move to September raises a likelihood a jury could be deliberating whether to convict the president's son in the waning weeks of the 2024 election.
And that is the latest news. Weather and traffic next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com. Say, are your retirement assets structured so that they minimize the payment of taxes? It's hard to believe, but many hardworking Americans just like you could be overpaying on taxes in retirement. You can be taxed on your IRA, your 401k, or any other tax-deferred retirement account. But Beacon Capital Management is here to give you peace of mind. With the threat of massive tax increases just around the corner, your nest egg could be in trouble unless you take advantage of defensive tax-saving strategies now. Defend your hard-earned retirement savings by scheduling a free retirement tax reduction analysis today. No cost, no pressure, no obligation. If you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement, don't wait any longer. Schedule your free retirement tax reduction analysis from Beacon. Just call this number to set up the appointment. 615-488-9303. Again, 615-488-9303. Or visit askbeaconnow.com for more information.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It is 38 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. Brian Wilson in the chair all the way till 7 o'clock when we hand it over to Mark Levin. So hope you're getting home safely. Understand that there have been some low-level flooding. We had these storms were not violent storms, not the kind of storms that bring you hail, and they don't have any rotation in them as far as we know. But they have dropped a lot of rain, and we have some areas where we get low-level flooding, so you may encounter that. Turn around, don't drown. And I hate to tell you that because I know you have more common sense. But then every time we get a low-level flooding here, we hear stories about people who drive into the water that they shouldn't have driven into.
I drove in some water. But luckily, I was okay.
Perfect example.
there
is
it
our
is.
own Chris Webber. That's right.
Brian, I did just get the report that that ground stop at B&A has been lifted.
Okay, good deal. Yep. All righty. We got a little news here today with regard to Nikki Haley. She's been on the ballot, and I guess will remain on the ballot in a lot of states in the primary process. And she's been pulling down in some, I would say, my memory, I need to go back and look at this, but somewhere around 15% of the vote, overwhelmingly being stomped, by Donald Trump. But still, there's a number of people out there who have decided they're going to support Nikki Haley. What's hard to know are these Democrats who are messing around in the Republican primary and that they wouldn't really be there in the regular primary, one way or the other. She's been pulling them down about 15, 16, in some cases, 17% support. All right, so she now says that in the election, the coming looming election, she will now say that she's going to vote for Donald Trump. Here's how that went.
I put my priorities on a president who's going to have the backs of our allies and hold our enemies to account, who would secure the border, no more excuses, a president who would support capitalism and freedom. Trump has not been perfect on these policies. I've made that clear many, many times. But Biden has been a catastrophe. So I will be voting for Trump. I stand by what I said in my suspension speech. Trump would be smart to reach out to the millions of people who voted for me and continue to support me, and not assume that they're just going to be with him.
Well, okay, I haven't heard if there's any kind of response from Donald Trump in all this. So a couple of 2 or 3 things. Some people have said, honestly, and I am not one of them, but I have heard it said, and it's been said by people who think that it would be the perfect ticket, Trump and Haley, that it would be hard to beat. And I would simply say to you, I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't think this is what this is about. I think she realizes that if she have any hope of running for the presidency again one day, she could not do so if it was seen to be an impediment to Trump in the general election. And so now she has said that she will vote for Trump. Now, saying you're going to vote for Trump and urging him to reach out to the people who supported you is very different from saying that you're going to go out there and actively support him and be on the campaign trail and to do what you can to make sure that people turn out for Donald Trump. That would be, she says, I would suggest to him strongly that he reach out. Well, I would suggest to you strongly, Nikki Haley, get on board and enthusiastically embrace the nomination of Donald Trump. It will pay off for you well down the line. And in the meantime, I don't know exactly any other real thing that you should do. I think you should actually be out there being very supportive, not just saying, I'm going to vote for him. Well, I mean, were you going to vote for what? Mr. Senile? No, you weren't going to do that. Were you going to vote for RFK Jr.? No, you weren't going to do that. So, I mean, you were going to do that anyway. Or you're going to throw your vote away or not vote. Because there was no way you were going to vote for any of those other people. So anyway, it was inevitable to say now, and I think the real test will be, is she serious about it? Is she going to get out there and actively campaign for him to do what she can? Or is she just getting this out of the way and now we'll sit back? It'll be interesting to see in the days ahead. There's some stuff going on with Anthony Fauci and the whole COVID stuff that I think we need to talk about. A U.S. government official, a top U.S. government official, bragged that he had learned of a way to make emails vanish after receiving Freedom of Information Act requests. Messages now made public show. I learned from our FOIA lady. FOIA stands for Freedom of Information Act lady. There's always in every agency, there's somebody who is the FOIA agent, someone who takes FOIA requests and answers them or denies them. In most cases, deny them. I learned from our FOIA lady here how to make emails disappear after I'm FOIA'd, but before the search starts. So I think we are all safe. Dr. David Morin, senior advisor to the director of the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, wrote in an email on February 24th of 21. In other words, he was the senior advisor to Anthony Fauci. In another missive, Dr. Morin's advised friends to try to send emails to his Gmail address. But if something goes to my government mail by accident, it's okay. I've spoken to our FOIA folks, and I'm managing my stuff after emails are sent or received, such that I should be safe from future FOIAs. In other words, he wanted to protect himself from having the American people know what they were doing. Don't ask me how we do this, he says. Is that a joke? Really? In a third message, he said he had learned the tricks from an old friend, Marg Moore, who heads our FOIA office and also hates FOIAs. The emails were obtained by the U.S. House of Representatives Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, released to the public on Tuesday. They were sent by Dr. Morin's using his personal address after he detailed that was one way to avoid being FOIA'd. They were actively seeking to keep information from you, the American public. He did not respond to requests. An email sent to Mr. Moore bounced back. So apparently he's closed his Gmail account. He appeared today before a subcommittee in Washington. This was happening later this afternoon as I went on the air, so I have not heard all the details about what he said. But, I mean, this is very troubling. He worked at NIAID since 1998. The agency was headed from 1984 until 2022 by Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Morin's was writing in the emails to Peter Daszak, president of the EcoHealth Alliance Group, which funneled money from NIAID to a laboratory in Wuhan, China. Yes, that laboratory. In one message, Dr. Morin's told Dr. Daszak that my Gmail is now safe from FOIA, and that should make it safe to communicate safely with you. In another missive, we are all smart enough to know that we never have smoking guns, and that we wouldn't put them in emails. If we found them, we would delete them. You know, this guy's an idiot, first of all. Let me just give you a real primer. Don't say anything in an email that you don't want to have come back and bite you on the butt later. I mean, that's just rule number one. Don't put it in an email. But they did. And then, and now we have them. And now we see that they were doing everything they could to keep information hidden from the American people. They were working actively behind the scenes to do that. All right, then there's this. The Biden administration said it has suspended from all federal funding programs the scientists at the heart of the lab leak theory of the origins of coronavirus, and proposed blocking him from receiving federal funds in the future. HHS sent a letter to Peter Daszak on Tuesday, less than a week after the agency took similar action against Daszak's organization, EcoHealth Alliance. In the letter, HHS said it was holding Daszak responsible for EcoHealth's alliance failure to adequately monitor the activities of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and then subsequently failing to report on the lab's high-risk virus studies. The alleged conduct of EHA is imputed to you because during all part of the time relevant, you participated in, knew of, or had reason to know of EHA's improper conduct through your role as the president of EHA, as well as project director and principal investigator. While bans generally last about 3 years, I may impose disbarment for a longer period or shorter period as the circumstance warranted. Cited 31 federal documents dating back to the National Institutes of Health initial 2014 grant to EcoHealth leading up to the May 15th notice, suspending and proposing debarment of Daszak's organization. They've come under fire, of course, from Republicans and Democrats over the group's work with the Wuhan lab, particularly regarding the controversial gain of function research to enhance the ability of the virus to cause disease or to make it more transmissible. I mean, does anybody now not believe that COVID came out of that lab leak? Of course it did. And you know what? Let's just all stop for a moment and pay homage to Rand Paul, who got it right. Who got it right every step of the way. And, you know, he was lambasted. He was demonized. Everybody said, Rand Paul, I mean, remember, when we had Anthony Fauci, and all Anthony Fauci would say is, you don't know what you're talking about, and how dare you question me because
I represent science.
I represent science, he would say.
I represent science.
Yeah, remember that? He represents science. Rand Paul got it right. And now it's funny how all of those things that people said, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. Turns out it really looks like it was correct. And this guy, who is now, answering tough questions from Capitol Hill, has a lot of explaining to do about why he felt it was important to hide things. Not only, FOIA requests, are designed for the American people to get information, but also Congress, if they want to go in and ask for all of these emails. Somehow they found them, and I can promise you, every email you wrote is somewhere. They just remember that. There's no way to completely hide emails. Once sent, they are there. Somebody can find it, buried deep within one system or another. 50 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. The weather is getting warmer. That means grilling season is upon us. And if you're a fan of Legend Steakhouse like I am, you can enjoy some of those same flavors right at home, right on your very own grill. Take a walk down your local grocery store aisle, places like Walmart and Kroger, and look for Johnny Fleeman's very own brand. Johnny Fleeman's Marinade proprietary blend will give your steaks, chicken, or chops a flavor that will hit a home run with family and friends. It's low in sodium, about a third of other brands. You don't have to worry about over-marinating. You don't want to miss out on their honey mustard salad dressing. Use it as a salad dressing or a dipping sauce for your favorite chicken fingers, fresh-cut veggies or chips, a recipe used in his restaurant for some 35 years. If your favorite grocer isn't stocking Johnny Fleeman products, why don't you just ask him to do so? For more information, just go to johnnyfleeman.com. And it goes without saying, for those times when you want someone else to do the cooking, they'll always be glad to see you at your nearest Legends Steakhouse for lunch or for dinner.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
All right, look around your home right now and look at, well, you know, that old couch. We need to do something about it. Maybe you've got a bedroom suite that's just really, it's been there too long. You need to do something to freshen up that room, right? Maybe you need appliances. Maybe the stove or the fridge are about ready to go. Maybe the dishwasher is on its last legs. Well, where do you turn? Well, there's only one place you should turn. That's DT McCall & Sons, 5 convenient locations here in Middle Tennessee, a company that has been family-run and operated for more than 100 years, more than a century. That's right, and they have a reputation for treating people right, treating people with respect. They're going to respect you by giving you an honest number, and they're not going to play games with you. You ask them, how much is this? And they'll give you a number, and that's a real number. And the number won't go up when they start talking about things like delivery, setup, or haul away. No, the number covers all of that. Not like the big box stores where they nickel and dime you on that kind of stuff. You don't want that. So if you need furniture, you need appliances, you need a new riding mower, go look at them Cub Cadet mowers at DT McCall's. They got a bunch of them, and they're good mowers. You need a gun safe. I mean, whatever it is you need, find out all the things they can do for you and your home by going to their website, dtmccalls.com.
It's 6 o'clock. I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 72 degrees and rain in Middle Tennessee. Got a traffic report and a weather forecast in 5 minutes. The city of Uvalde, Texas will pay families of the victims of the 2022 shooting at Robb Elementary School and is promising to make changes as part of a new settlement announced. 19 children, 2 teachers killed in that mass shooting. Alex Stone.
As a part of the settlement, the city of Uvalde will pay the families of the victims at Robb Elementary School $2 million. It agrees to better hire and train its officers and will create a memorial honoring the victims. Josh Koskoff is an attorney representing the families and says there were systematic issues with the police in Uvalde.
These were the last lines of defense for these children, but they were failed long before the shooting.
He says the families are, though, still suing the state of Texas.
And in politics, former Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley says this November she'll be voting for her former Boston opponent, Donald Trump. The one-time UN ambassador under former President Trump built a campaign around wooing independents, moderates, and anti-Trump Republicans. Speaking before the conservative think tank, the Hudson Institute, Haley criticized President Biden's handling of Israel, Ukraine, the border, the economy, and more, saying that's why she's backing Trump.
I stand by what I said in my suspension speech. Trump would be smart to reach out to the millions of people who voted for me and continue to support me and not assume that they're just going to be with him.
Back here in Tennessee right now, the Nashville Metro Council voted against the construction of a Morgan Wallen sign for his bar. 30 no votes and just 3 yes votes. The group requested permission for an aerial encroachment where the bar is being built. The council voted against it in large part due to his past criminal behavior, most recently throwing a chair off of a rooftop bar, which nearly hit 2 police officers. And according to Nashville, any aerial, underground, or building, including awning, sign, canopy, fiber optic cable that encroaches on Metro's right-of-way must be approved by Metro Council. And a busy Memorial Day holiday weekend ahead. Derek Dennis.
A record-breaking number of travelers expected to hit the road and take to the skies this Memorial Day weekend. AAA predicts 3.5 million people will fly over the holiday. That's a 4.8% jump from last year and marks the busiest Memorial Day weekend at U.S. airports since 2005. The most packed airports, Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, Chicago, O'Hare, and LAX. On the roads, a record high 38.4 million people are expected to travel by car over the holiday, 4% more than last year.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, They want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It is 6:07 on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and this is the fourth and final hour on this Wednesday, middle of the week. We got one more hour to go before we hand it over to Mark Levin. Let's get you home safely. Let's get you some information and make sure that you have everything you need at your fingertips to be well informed. I think I've swallowed a bug.
Okay, well, that's news you can use.
Well, I know. I think if I start gagging, it's because I think a bug went down my throat.
This is a little protein, a little snack for you.
Thank goodness it wasn't a cicada.
No.
Oh my gosh. So I'm really struggling here, but I'll try to press on. People are counting on me.
That's the kind of dedication you get right here.
That's right. They said, Wilson swallowed a bug, and he continued on. He stayed in the saddle. He didn't walk away. That's right. Let's see. Here we go. 2024 numbers are in. And they look, again, continually look pretty good for Donald Trump and not so good for Joe Biden. Now, these are numbers, five-way numbers from the battleground states, and this is a morning consult poll, all right? Not particularly, the morning consult numbers haven't been particularly favorable to Trump, but these look pretty good. In Arizona, they say that Trump leads by 5. All right, listen, we've seen enough polls out of Arizona to say I think it's probably going to go in the direction of Trump. Georgia, Trump +5. Nevada, Trump +5. North Carolina, Trump +6. Pennsylvania, a little tighter, Trump +3. Wisconsin, Trump +1. The only battleground state where Biden leads is Michigan, but it's again within the margin of error. It's Biden +2. Again, these are 5-way polls, and they're from the battleground states. So, that's pretty good stuff. 6 out of the 7, Trump has a lead. All of them are pretty sizable except for Wisconsin, which is just 1, and of course Michigan, which is tied. Listen, the way I look at the map, I've got a 270 to win map. If you, by the way, go to 270 to win sometime and play around with it. So, for example, I'm saying Georgia is going to be red. It feels like it's going to be, and look like North Carolina is going to be red. All right, so let's go Arizona. I'm going to give that red. Nevada, enough polls there seem to suggest that that's red. I'm going to give him. Let's see, that leaves right now. If you would have these undecided states: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Now, if Donald Trump wins one of those 3, any one of those 3, he will become the next president. He will have, right now, without those 3, he's at 268. He's got to win one of those 3. And if for some reason he pulls off a miracle like he says he will, and he pulls off, let's say, Virginia, he doesn't even need those 3 states. So if he can pick off one other, he's only 2, the way it looks to me right now, 2 electoral college votes away from having it the way things are shaping up. Now, this could change, but, if he only needs 2, then let's say, he's got to win either Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania, or some other state that is a blue state. What are some of the likely ones? Well, he seems to think he's going to do okay in Virginia. He says that Minnesota's in play. New Hampshire would give him enough because New Hampshire, we saw a poll there yesterday where essentially in a 5-way race, it's tied. So there's a possibility. But everything is getting really, really close. If he starts to, pull away and Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania picks up one of those, it's over. There's no pathway for Joe Biden the way I see it right now. So there we go. Will there be surprise on election night? You bet there will be. But this is starting to look pretty good. In the Real Clear Politics average of polls, in the general election, it's Trump +1. See, it's a lot tighter. It's going to be, I think, one of those elections, it's entirely possible, where you don't win the popular vote, but you do win the electoral college number that you need of 270. In a 5-way race, it's Trump +2. In a battleground states, on average, again, they have it Trump +3. So this is looking real good. And you know what? The Democrats are freaking out. Absolutely freaking out. Liberals are sounding the alarm that, Biden is losing. Guess what? Let me just give you a few of these things that have come across the transom. This from the Washington Examiner, quoting other writers and other experts. New York Times' Ezra Klein unfurled 7 theories as to why Biden is losing to former President Donald Trump. The electorate hasn't turned on Democrats. A crucial group of voters had turned on Biden. You see, they point out that, in some of these states where Biden is not winning, the Democrat senatorial candidate is doing okay. The point here is that Democrats have a Joe Biden problem, not a party problem. New York Magazine's Jonathan Chait wrote, regular mainstream Democrat candidates are holding up just fine in the purple states. That's why the Democrats in those races in some cases are running away from Biden. If you go out there and do a focus group, the focus groups will say, he's 200 years old. You got to be kidding me. This is a quote given to thehill.com by an unnamed Democrat senator. We'll see how much gravity we can defy, the senator said, of Democrats running ahead of Biden in the battleground states, implying Biden could have reverse coattails. There you go. Political consultant Douglas McKinnon is a Republican, but he doesn't think Democrats should give Biden the option. Again, every single Democrat I speak with wishes they had someone other than Biden or Vice President Kamala Harris as their nominee. Be that someone California Governor Gavin Newsom, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, or Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer are all possibilities. And so, is that a possibility? Maybe. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, look, I look at these numbers, and I'm coming back around. Now, I mean, I sort of went away from it for a while because it looked like everything was going forward, that he's going to be out on the campaign trail, that he's going to do a debate, and everything. And I thought, well, maybe they're just going to go ahead and stick with this guy and see if they can squeak it through or cheat their way through one way or the other. They were going to stick with Biden. But now I look at these numbers again and I say, how in the world can they look at Joe Biden, a man who gave a speech this last weekend off the teleprompter, reading off a teleprompter? They had to issue 9 different corrections to the things he said to the audience that were inaccurate or nonsensical, didn't make any sense at all. For example, he said that he was vice president during the pandemic. He didn't mean the pandemic. He apparently meant the recession, but he said pandemic. Well, he wasn't. The pandemic wasn't even going on when he was vice president. That's something you should know. The pandemic was going on when you were president, not vice president, but he misspoke. He read, instead of reading off the teleprompter, which is not the difficult thing in the world. You read the words that are right in front of you. He said pandemic, but in the teleprompter, it said recession. How in the world can you not worry about a guy like that if you're a Democrat? And so I keep thinking, maybe they're going to give him that first debate. And if he think about this. He's going to go out there and he's going to debate Trump without a teleprompter. And if he can't get it right with a teleprompter, what are the chances that they're not going to have to issue 300, 400 different corrections on the debate stage when he's just out there on his own? I think our friend Pete Heggs has had it right. I think that people think that the expectations for Biden are so low that if he's still breathing at the end of the debate, they'll consider it a victory. But honestly, I think it's going to show people just how bad they are, and the stories will come out about all the corrections they had to issue and all the things he said that were wrong. That's all Trump has to do is not say things that aren't true. Just say, yes, things you know to be true. And Biden will screw it up. There's no way that they want this guy to go out there. So I think they give him this first debate, which is very early in the process. And if it doesn't go well, he won't be at the second debate and he won't be the nominee. Because this will be, everybody in the country is going to be watching this. And if he craters in this, then, I think it's over for Biden. And I think they'll have to find somebody else. And it won't be Kamala. And by that time, by the way, I think here's another thing. Kamala could be gone because, they may be a Supreme Court vacancy by then. Just my theory. I don't have anything to back it up on. It just sort of gaming it out here. How do they get rid of Kamala? They offer her a Supreme Court position. It won't change the balance of the court, but it would relieve them of a huge problem. And they could push her through. They could push her through in quick order. So I don't know. I think that those two things are increasingly possible. Increasingly possible. I am very troubled by this. Nearly half of the voters across 7 swing states said they expect violence around the presidential election in November. This is according to this Bloomberg Morning Consult poll. They were talking to voters in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. How much do you trust each of the following? And then the question was that the election and its aftermath will be free from violence. According to the survey, roughly half, 49%, of respondents expect some degree of violence surrounding the election. 49%. 35% said some, 16% said a lot. And you look at this one, it follows a Rasmussen survey from earlier in the month. 4 in 10 likely U.S. voters think that a second civil war could occur in the United States in the next 5 years. 37% saying a second civil war is more likely if Biden wins re-election. A quarter said a second civil war is more likely if Trump were to win in November. Wow. That's where we are in America. And I've never seen the country more divided. That is true. We are a very divided nation. But as I look at these numbers, it seems to me that a lot of people are looking at it and they say, well, if my choices are Biden and Trump, I think I'm going to go with Trump. He's losing young voters, which is why they are trying to buy more young votes today by paying off a bunch more student loans. You know how much that's cost us so far? $167 billion. All of his efforts to pay off student loans. And by the way, a lot of it going to people who could easily pay them off without any help. People who make $300,000 or more a year. So this is bad. And I guess we're in a position right now where, we're just in for a rough road. It's going to be very interesting to see how this thing goes between now and the election. By the way, if you haven't caught it, I just want to mention it as we're doing 2024 news. Nikki Haley now says she will vote for Trump. She doesn't say she's going to get out there and actively support him, just that she's going to vote for him. And she hopes that Trump will reach out to the people who voted for her. Let's call it 20 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Let me talk about the folks over at Busy Bee HVAC and Plumbing. Good people. I'm a member of the Beehive Club. Are you a member? You should become a member because really, honestly, it will pay off for you. $99 is where it starts. And for that, on an annual basis, you receive 3 annual tune-ups, one aimed at heating, one aimed at cooling, one aimed at plumbing. This is preventative maintenance. This is where you solve problems before they become bigger problems. You get a 10% discount on repairs. You'll get priority front-of-the-line service. You'll get $100 annual accrued replacement credit with a maximum of $1,000 over the years. No overtime or holiday fees, and you will be given notice of exclusive Beehive member promotions. Now, look, your heating and cooling systems, honestly, they're not meant to last forever. They don't last forever. And if you think that you might need to replace one, if it's on its last leg, here's some good news. You can get it replaced and not pay any interest if paid in full within 15 months. You got 15 months to pay it off with no interest, with a good credit, of course. Plumbing projects, 18 months. That's right. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling is your official Rude Pro partner for satisfaction guaranteed. Call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833 online at busybeehvac.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Well, we got this story that we're checking in on Hunter Biden. You know, he's got a couple of big trials coming up. The gun trial is looking really like that's going to be a very ugly trial for Hunter Biden. And they're going to show pictures of his crack use. They have sort of released a list of all the evidence and the stuff that they intend to use in that trial against him. And, you know, it's very clear he went out and purchased a weapon and said on the form, you know, when you buy a gun, you got to say, I'm not addicted to any drugs. I'm not under the influence of any drugs. There's a whole lot of different things you have to sign. And you're basically signing an oath that these things are true. And we know he had a horrible, horrible drug problem. And so they've gone through and they have all the evidence they need to prove that indeed he lied on that form. It's a pretty open and shut case. Now, he's got a good lawyer, and the guy named Abby Lowell, who will try to throw up a bunch of clutter and a bunch of smoke and try to say things like, well, the case should be thrown out on a technicality. But, you know, the bottom line is he signed the dadgum form, and he was addicted to drugs at the time. It's pretty open and closed as far as I can tell. So that's happening. And then later in the month of June, he's got another trial on tax evasion. Listen to this from FoxNews.com. House Republicans say they obtained information to prove indisputably that Hunter Biden lied under oath multiple times during his congressional deposition earlier this year. House Ways and Means Committee on Wednesday held a markup session to discuss documents protected under IRS Code 6103, a portion of the tax code that keeps certain information confidential. Discussing that material without it being properly released by the House Ways and Means is considered a felony. The panel voted to release that information. Hunter Biden has shown once again he believes there are two systems of justice, one for his family and one for everyone else. Not only did Hunter Biden refuse to comply with his initial subpoena until threatened with criminal contempt, but he then came before Congress and lied, House Ways and Committee Chairman Jason Smith told Fox News. The Ways and Means Committee investigation and the documents released today are not part of a personal vendetta against Hunter Biden, but are meant to ensure the equal application of the law. Smith said some of the documents obtained revealed Hunter Biden lied at least 3 times during his deposition. Smith noted that lying during a sworn deposition is a felony offense, that the Department of Justice has prosecuted numerous individuals in recent years, and the American people expect the same accountability for the son of the President of the United States. Do you think that Biden's Justice Department, that Merrick Garland, is going to actually prosecute Hunter Biden, the son of the president, for lying under oath to Congress? Probably not, but I mean, he should. If you look blindly at the law, they say, listen, you don't often see people use a word like indisputable. We have indisputable evidence, they said. Indisputable. Hunter Biden lies under oath and obstruction of congressional investigation of his family potential corruption calls into question other pieces of his testimony. The newly released evidence affirms once again the only witness who can be trusted to tell the truth in this investigation are the IRS whistleblowers. They're the ones who you can believe. Hunter Biden's been charged in 2 separate jurisdictions stemming from Special Counsel David Weiss's years-long investigation. He's pleaded not guilty to federal gun charges. He was charged with making false statements in the purchase of a firearm, making a false statement related to information required to be kept by a licensed firearm dealer, and 1 count of possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance. His first son has pleaded also not guilty to federal tax charges in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California, specifically 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors concerning a $1.4 million in owed taxes that have since been paid. So the bottom line here is, will they be more charges brought in that he now has, according to the Republicans in the House, they now have indisputable evidence that when he came in for his deposition, he lied to Congress at least 3 times. 6:30 now on Super Talk. I want to tell you about Restoration Wellness and Med Spa over in Lebanon. Boy, I'm telling you, it's a great place. Let the team at Restoration Wellness help you achieve your summer goals. I mean, they're the leader in weight loss management in Wilson County. And you know, summer is just around the corner. I mean, we almost hit 90 yesterday. Don't you want to look good in your shorts? Don't you look good when you go to the pool? Don't you want to look good when you go to the beach? Right. Call Restoration Wellness team today at 615-470-8124. Or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation today. My friends Carly and Jamie, really, exceptionally nice people, and they will take care of you like your family. Be a part of the 1,000 patients who have already seen life-changing results from the weight loss management program at Restoration Wellness and Med Spa. These treatments, by the way, are customizable. They don't just do one size fits all. That's not what it's about. Restoration Wellness considers your unique needs, your lifestyle, your goals. And whether your goal is to lose stubborn body fat or to improve your overall health, Restoration Wellness has a solution for you. Listen, it's working for me. It's working for Cabana. Man, does she look good. I'm telling you. Newest technology in weight loss management can be found at Restoration Wellness Med Spa. Find out more about it by going to the website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
.38 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. How you doing out there? Did you get home with all the rain and the storm and everything? Okay, good. Well, we've reached toward the last 22 minutes of the program for this Wednesday. And, sometimes we like to bat cleanup, and sometimes there's a lot of little stories that I just think are sort of interesting. I'd like to get them in, but I don't know, they don't go together. I'm a big believer in the Segoo.
Yeah.
The Segway.
Is that how you say it? Okay.
Some people call it Segway. I call it the Segoo, which is a blending of stories. But sometimes you just can't make them fit. They just kind of clash. They're not related one to the other.
Well, what would we do in such a situation?
Well, in a situation like that, the only thing I can think to do is, just squish them together like that. And so there we go. We're going to squish some stories. You ready? Story number 1. That one always gets me. GM is putting out an all-electric Chevy Equinox. Now, look, electric cars, the problem is that, a lot of people don't feel like they can't travel long distances. I think really the bridge is the hybrid to the future. That way, you never get stuck. Even if you can't find a place to charge, you're in trouble. But you can just run on the gasoline engine, which then charges the batteries and keeps you going down the highway. This is all electric. They say, are you ready for this? And I've never seen anything that comes close to this. They say that eventually the base model will be $27,500. Not bad. And will have a 300-mile range. But we've heard these kind of promises before. I don't know.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Offering a new EV for around $25,000 has long been a target of automakers. And by the way, that's $27,500 after federal incentives. And a 300-mile range, they say, that's the sweet spot. Now, right now, you can't get one of the $27,000 models because they put the more expensive ones out first. This is the $43,000 to $51,000 without any incentives. And they say the Level T Equinox model, the entry-level Equinox LT model starts at about $35,000, is expected later this year, but eventually will get down $35,000. Then you take the $7,000 off. That's where you get to $27,500. All right?
Okay. We'll
That's
see.
what they say. Story number 2. Home sales dipped unexpectedly in April despite big gains in supply. There's a lot of people who put their house on the market. This is the time of year where that happens, by the way. As you know, kids are out of school and you want to move during the summer so your kids can be at the new place and enrolled in school in time. You don't want to take kids out in the middle of the year. So a lot of people put their houses on the sale as school is winding down, and that's happening right now, right? Well, apparently, sales of previous owned homes fell 1.9% in April. 1.9%. The sales are based on closing, so contracts likely signed in February and March. Mortgage rates jumped at the start of February, then held around 7%. And that's what it's all about. It's about the interest rates. And again, back and forth with the Fed. Some days the Fed sort of talks like maybe we're going to have interest rates go down. And then sometimes they talk about, sticky inflation. We're very concerned. I don't know. I wouldn't hold out. If you're waiting, I wouldn't hold out because I don't think I think if at all, it will be after the election, the way it feels right now. Story number 3. That was a very tiny squish. That was very succinct. 13 conservative counties in Oregon have approved ballot measures to secede from the state of Oregon. How about that? They would like to join Idaho. Wow. 13 fed-up counties in liberal Oregon have voted to support measures to start negotiations to secede from the state and join the state of Idaho. If that's assuming that Idaho wants them, I think probably Idaho would take them. Cook County became the latest to approve the Greater Idaho measure following a vote on Tuesday. The proposal seeks to move the Oregon border 200 miles to the west, meaning that 14 counties and several partial counties would fall under Idaho state lines. Organizers say that East Oregonians are being alienated by the state's progressive policies, which they blame for high crime rates. They claim a move to Idaho would allow residents to take advantage of lower taxation, provide better representation, and governance. The Oregon-Idaho line was established 163 years ago and is now outdated, the movement website states. Makes no sense in its current location because it doesn't match the location of the cultural divide in Oregon. So you go into Idaho and, a lot of advantages to being in Idaho. First of all, there are the potatoes.
Can't get those in Oregon.
But you can't get great potatoes. You can't get Idaho potatoes. And yeah, you can probably. I don't know. Let's see. Next story. Paramount Networks has announced that production of the last 5 episodes of Yellowstone Season 5 have finally resumed in Montana. Now, if you know the story here, it's an amazing story. I mean, I'm a big fan of the show Yellowstone. Love the characters. I love Rip, and I love Beth, and I love, John Dutton is a great family patriarch in this show. And then, the storylines are good, and they're really vibrant characters, well written by Taylor Sheridan, and he's done a great job with it. There's going to be a lot of spinoffs. There've already been several. There'll be several more, I'm sure. But the problem is they split season 5 in half. They did I don't think maybe 5 episodes, and that was like way back, like it seemed like a couple of years ago. Long time. It's been a long time. And then when they got time to shoot the second half, Kevin Costner, who plays the patriarch John Dutton, said, I got other things to do, and you're not giving me any warning. You're not telling me, when we're going to start, when we're going to finish. I got other projects, and by the way, I haven't seen any scripts. Taylor Sheridan's notorious for turning in scripts the day of. He cranks them out at the last second, and so then the thing goes on hold. When are they going to finish season 5? And is Costner going to be a part of it? No, is the answer. For the second half of the season, the cast and crew of Yellowstone have come back to the show's set without lead star Kevin Costner, who has exited the series due to scheduling conflicts with Costner's movie project and because of creative differences. The popular Western drama will be concluding its run after Yellowstone Season 5, which will return its mid-season premiere coming in November. So in November of this year, we will finally see how in the hell is Taylor Sheridan going to finish this thing up? I mean, how do you finish a show about a guy named John Dutton without John Dutton in it?
And didn't you say that originally there were plans for like 8 seasons?
Oh, yeah. He was apparently at one point, Costner has recently said he was in for season 6, 7, 8. I mean, he said, I was in. I love the premise. I love the franchise, and I wanted to do it, but I mean, it got to be untenable the way Taylor Sheridan was handling things. Now, Taylor Sheridan has a completely different viewpoint at this point, but how in the world, I mean, if Taylor Sheridan is pretty good, don't get me wrong, he's really good at what he does, and his shows are all great. I've not yet seen a Taylor Sheridan show or movie that I didn't truly enjoy, but how in the world do you work yourself out of this pickle? How do you finish off an immensely popular show without the lead character?
Maybe they'll weave in some like old video clips or something like that from previous, maybe stuff that they filmed but didn't put in the show to just kind of weave him into scenes.
I guess. I mean, I don't know how in the world you could do it. I mean, unless you start with his funeral.
Oh, well, is that a possibility?
I don't know. I mean, nobody knows exactly how it's all going to be worked out. But in previous interviews, Yellowstone cast member Ian Bowen teased the series finale, describing it as the best series finale. Best series finale in history. Now, is that just hype?
I guess I couldn't say it's going to be terrible.
Well, no, but you could say nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, if you're an actor and you're involved in a stinker, you just don't say anything. But this guy's going out on the limb saying that, no, it's going to be great. You're going to be amazed. So, again, if anybody could pull it off, it's Taylor Sheridan. But my question is, how in the world do you do that without John Dutton? Again, Matthew McConaughey has apparently signed on for a follow-on. And we're not clear exactly how that's all going to work. And they've been very hush-hush about that. But apparently he has signed on to do something Yellowstone-ish afterwards. Maybe he's the long-lost brother of John Dutton who comes back. I don't know. One way or the other. I think Yellowstone ends up back in the hands of the Indians. Been a lot of suggestion that might be the end of where they were headed. I don't know. We'll see. Finally, Graceland foreclosure sale halted as Presley estate lawsuit moves forward. A judge on Wednesday, today, said Elvis Presley says, we got to have some hound dog music here. We got some hound dog music? There we go. A judge on Wednesday said Elvis Presley's estate could be successful in arguing that a company attempted to auction Graceland is fraudulent, and he halted a foreclosure sale of the beloved Memphis tourist attraction. Later Wednesday, a statement from somebody who appeared to be a representative of the company said it would drop its claim, which the Presley estate had argued is based on fake documents. Online records did not immediately show any legal filing suggesting the claim had been dropped. Graceland needs to stay in the hands of the Presley family, don't you think?
Well, yeah, sure.
I don't know. It wouldn't be the same. Have you ever been to Graceland?
I have, but it's been probably 35 years ago. A long time.
Well, we ought to just finish up by listening to a little Elvis Presley, don't you think?
Can't go wrong there.
Why not? Here we go. Yeah. It still works, doesn't it? You listen to this old rock and roll, that old Elvis stuff, you can't help but tap your toe. Anyway, apparently all this talk about closing down Graceland or having a foreclosure sale, we now are being told is no longer in the works, and good news there. It is now 50 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock.